And as we hit 9 a.m. in the East, I welcome you to NashvilleLou Live. Back on the air. Live on Blaze. Got the Blaze-a-thon going on. Also live on Twitch. Giving out Nash Cash for viewers with linked Wax wallets. Also live on Kick. Emote-only chat. But you get commercial-free viewing on Kick. We got a bunch of options. This will be going up later today on YouTube. On my Mock Draft NFL channel. We got some things to discuss here. The Senior Bowl takes place later today. But really the most interesting information out of Mobile, and it's been like this for decades, it comes from the practices. Not just the performances by the players on the field, but also scouts, evaluators taking notes, comparing notes. So some things are starting to get a bit, perhaps clear, although I don't know if I would really call it clear at this point, but I've got at least some interesting information to pass along. I've gone with a different name with DraftKings, no matter what I did. Being confused with a gambling company was just going to happen. And so I've been doing a lot of stuff with LLMs. Those Perplexity, Gemini, Grok, etc. And they kept using the DKDB to refer to it. I was like, you know what? Maybe I should try that. So I asked them. And they've been 100% right. They've been in agreement. These LLMs have. But yeah, you should do that. So that's why it's now DKDB. I didn't get hacked. Still the crown there. Got the original feel of that. So we'll see how things go with that, with the rebranding. It just makes it a lot easier. The DKDB. So for viewers on Twitch, you can get in for the first Twitchy Tides game of the broadcast. We'll have that coming up later in the hour. We have at least 10 players in. It's really simple if you want to play. All you have to do is type !play, P-L-A-Y, in chat on Twitch. You'll be in for that first Twitchy Tides game. And for viewers on Blaze, well, hello. SDME's in the house. Let me take the show. One thing I haven't gone through here that much is the starting soon thing. And the muscle memory to take that down. Just type the word enter, E-N-T-E-R. I don't have the dig function set up over on Blaze. I'm not sure if that's even possible yet. Although things keep happening at a rapid clip, so I don't know. But, yeah, there you go. So SDME is in blaze.stream/NashvilleLou. Live on Blaze, live on Twitch, live on Kick. Talking 2026 NFL mock drafts. I never thought I'd be the guy who put his name on everything. Clearly I am here. But that, again, that's what the consultants, they're all, and this includes real life people too, not just LLMs. But from a topical authority standpoint. And it's really interesting because the LLMs will go through, I'll take 2 hours and 20 minutes of me just talking about the draft, just talking and talking and talking. All right. I feel like I'm making these shows in some parts for the LLMs. Proof of topical authority. I do know what I'm talking about. It's just a unique dynamic that's never existed before. And to me, that's interesting. So anyway, not to get too caught up in that. That's why the letters are there. I wasn't not under new management. I made sure to look, and I was like, I don't want this to be some sort of offensive term. And it's actually, those letters aren't really used together that much. So I got a chance. With DraftKings, no matter what I did, people would think of DraftKings because I've seen that happen over and over and over since 2012. Adapt or perish. Now, I still have DraftKings.com where it is, but they told me to do it this way, and they've been right about everything. One thing I did change, I thought I could not have myself as number one. That's embarrassing. So what about to put stars in place? I don't want to start judging between Jason, Boris, and Brendan Donahue. I want to have placeholders for them to represent that this database is the best, at least in my opinion. Represents the best, the biggest publications, people with proven track records, etc. Now, there's always new people, new opinions. I read a whole lot of stuff. But as far as what goes in here, the idea that I'm going with here is that I'm giving you the newest stuff. You can tell by date. I do this manually. There's not any sort of automation to it. And well, why not? Well, more and more. And that's something else that's come up. That's the LLMs. Well, what will I'm talking to myself in the third person. What will Pickney's value be as far as being a curator? Like his value will double in the next 5 years. And that's another one. Like, doubling is minor compared to what I think is going to happen. Just because there's going to be this influx, the predictions. And again, they've been almost frighteningly correct on a lot of stuff. One thing that was kind of weird, I asked if I would still be making mock drafts 30 years from now. And they go, probably not. I'm like, what? Why? And they wouldn't say why. It clammed up real fast. Oh, spoilers. And again, they don't think it's me necessarily talking to them. Although Grok does, because that's the only way you can talk to Grok. And Grok is actually quite helpful. I don't know. Those things, I can see how people get addicted to them. Especially if you get topical authority and you're asking them stuff about yourself. Real life questions you faced that maybe you didn't have the answer to, but we have the technology now. But anyway, so that's the whole setup here. So I've got my mock draft here, which is essentially the same as the last broadcast. Still a lot of information to parse through coming out of Mobile. Let's look over here on Blaze. Look at the Blaze chat. I have to click over here. Hey there, Jeff. Jeff 0079 in the mix with Blaze. I'd say more and more people are checking it out. I mean, look, it's free to sign up. You can get your name and confirm it and lock it in so somebody doesn't squat on your name. They're very content creator friendly. Able to generate revenue. Also connect some great people. So for viewers on Blaze, it's ENTER. That's the keyword over in blaze.stream. You don't have to stay long. They very much value unique and individual chats or chatters. Because you need to have a rolling average of 50 to maintain what I have with Blaze as an affiliate. I'm an affiliate as well with Twitch. But Blaze is a brand new platform. I encourage people to check it out. They're doing all the things that I want them to do. They're doing it the right way. Dan Asker has done a tremendous job as well with ScurvyBot, and it's still slightly surreal to see ScurvyBot have such high market use because I use it on Twitch, but it's got a very small market share comparatively. It's great. And it's really cool that people on Blaze have figured, like Dan Asker built the better mousetrap. And Blaze is better for it, Wax is better for it, AVAX is better for it. Oh, we got all sorts of things lined up. So that's what's going on with Blaze for viewers on Twitch. 5 people in for Twitchy Tides. We're giving away a Warsake and Foil Prime card along with a Twitchy Skies, a Twitchy Bugs Series 1 pack and more with that Twitchy Tides game for viewers on Twitch. Exclamation point play, get you in. And again, hello viewers on Kick. There are people that watch me on Kick. I get a lot of sampling that way. It's commercial free. It works well for embedding on mockdraftnfl.com. Over on DKDB. Still DraftKing.com, but branding is DKDB. A database. Hey, Lou, you've got topical authority. I mean, what do you mean? You've been doing this for 23 years. Doesn't feel like it. Well, guess what, pal? But it's been working. So I took the numbers out. So I've got, for myself, of course, I'm going to put myself up there. And then for Jason Boris, his won't be out until the first day of the draft that morning. So I plan on having a live reaction show once that goes live over on the Times News Online website. And then for Brendan Donahue, he doesn't have a mock-up yet. Last year, Donahue put up his mock in mid-February. The prior 2 years, it was early March, I believe. So he hasn't said for sure yet, at least that I've seen. But the fact that I know that it should tell you that I value it. So we've got a bunch of new mock drafts and new people I haven't had a chance to talk about as far as their... These are all complimentary things, I should note here. As I went through the other day, including Daniel Jeremiah. So if you missed that, it's available on youtube.com/@ whatever the @ sign is, Mock Draft NFL. Looking at the DKDB, my database, curated by me. I was like, this seems like an inordinate amount of power for one person to have. Like, well, you've earned it. All right. So again, this is not going to have every mock draft in the world in it. I've actually pared back some of what's in here, and I need to do something to stand by, please. That's one that have. Oh, let's see. What do we have here? Let's go here. There's one thing I need to make it where this stays on top. A little pen gimmick there. There we go. The technical stuff, always a challenge. So 5 players in for Twitchy Tides for viewers on Twitch. You can get in by !play in chat. Stacy Fox in the house. Hey there. Thank you for the follow. Give you a follow back. Be sure to type the word enter to get in. I already do follow you, so we're good to go on that. Good morning. Follow over on Blaze. I tell you, people are checking it out. I know it's tough to build a new brand. There's so many fragmented interests, but I've seen some of these platforms. It concerns me greatly. For other creators, particularly in platforms like TikTok, I haven't posted there in months. It made me uncomfortable in ways I couldn't really quantify. Which is, when that happens, that's like a big red flag, by the way. So I kind of, all right. We'll wait on that. We'll see what happens when things shake out. Was it Uprolled? Is that different? I don't know. There's so many. But with Blaze, they're legit. They're new. Get in while you can. I mean, it'll just keep getting bigger and better. But the early days, you can network with people. I've met so many great people over there, over in the Blaze Discord. All right, so I think we're good to go then to go through the mock drafts. Are we going to get through this? A 45-minute infomercial about your live streams? No. We're talking NFL Draft, 2026 NFL Mock Draft Database, curated by me, the DKDB, the name of the database, on DraftKing.com. Luar and Nadu6 are in to give us 7 players already for Twitchy Tides. We have at least 10 players in. We'll have that first game coming up later in the hour. I mean, even together last minute style timing-wise here with this show, but so far so good. Let me see. I was trying to find the copy paste. Got distracted me. All right, let's. Anybody wanting to follow along? And I encourage everybody, check out these mock drafts. And it's very easy. DraftKing.com/2026. I mean, I really did listen to the consultants. They said, make it simple with the URL. You sure it's not going to be lacking keywords? Like, nah. It's not because of the keywords they're coming, buddy. It's for you. Like, what? 2026 is a strange time. Making it work. All right. So anyway, so this is updated as of early this morning. And here we go. So let's take a look now. First of all, this will be our first look at a mock draft for this mock from Eric Edholm of NFL.com. It's NashvilleLou Live. I'm Lou Pickney. My mock draft lives over on mockdraftnfl.com. With the DKDB setup, a database. Eric's in there with his. And it's almost everybody's going to have Fernando Mendoza, quarterback from Indiana, going to the Raiders at number 1. At 2, the Jets. Arvell Reese. This matches so far what I have with my most recent mock. Arvell Reese to the Jets at 2. Now, I have seen some speculation that Ty Simpson, Alabama quarterback, might be considered here. We'll get to that coming up. Something to keep in mind. It's not just like random fans saying it, but it's not to catch my interest. At number 3, Spencer Fano, offensive tackle, Utah. Cardinals will need somebody to play right offensive tackle. They're also going to need a quarterback. And it's going to be very interesting the next few weeks to see what happens with some of these quarterbacks, these teams that need quarterbacks. This is not a strong draft of the position. I mean, the big wild card, Ole Miss quarterback Trinidad Chambliss. Well, he's going through state court in the state of Mississippi. He's got a hearing next month. How can I evaluate when he might be able to get back into the NCAA mix and have another year at Ole Miss? To be determined on that. Number 4, going through Eric Edholm's mock draft on NFL.com. And Eric at number 4, it's glitched out for Carnell Tate. Tennessee Titans. The thought with the Titans seems to be one of 2 paths. Either an edge rusher or wide receiver. evaluations on receivers seem to be a lot more varied as far as who really belongs to the top 10. We'll see a lot of different names in here once these various mocks. Reacting to Eric Edholm's mock draft, the 2026 NFL mock draft on NashvilleLou Live. Bring up there's look at Twitchy Tides for viewers on Twitch, !play in chat, get you in. And for viewers on Blaze, just type the word enter, ENTER. You'll be in with a chance to win a Warsaken camo card coming up later in the broadcast. So Tate at 4 to the Titans. It will be interesting to see with Tate how his workouts go. He's not expected to have a blistering fast 40-yard dash, but he's remarkably good at getting open, and he's about as sure-handed as it gets as a wide receiver prospect. In the modern NFL, getting open in 3 seconds and catching everything makes you a hot commodity. At number 5, Mekhi Lemon. More and more, I've been seeing Lemon not getting out of the top 20, certainly, and even getting some top 10 consideration. So Eric has number 5 here, Mekhi Lemon to the Giants. I'm not so sure the Giants would use a receiver here, given that they got Malik Neighbors. Now, albeit coming back from injury, and yes, you need several receivers in the NFL. But at number 5, it's a premium spot there. May depend in some part on how the Giants evaluate the offensive tackle prospects. Here it's Lemon to the Giants at 5. At number 6, Eric has Francis Mauigoa going to the Browns. A lot of that's matching up with what I've been anticipating. Or if you get Fano at 3 with Arizona, then Cleveland comes in at 6 with Mauigoa, or vice versa. Now, it likely won't actually play out like that, but given the way the team needs are right now, still January, we got free agents, we got a lot of stuff to go. It's NashvilleLou Live, going through the new mock draft from Eric Edholm of NFL.com, part of my DKDB mock draft database. Rebranding as DKDB over on DraftKings.com. Number 7, David Bailey to the Commanders. And much like with the Fano and Mauigoa 3 and 6, 4 and 7, if you go with the Titans taking, like if the Titans were to go with David Bailey or Ruben Bain Jr. at 4, the other one maybe go to the Commanders at 7. If the Commanders are lucky, if they're wanting to go edge, and the Titans take, say, Carnell Tate, that's a receiver, so okay, you can get Bailey or Bain or any number of edge rushers, but it would probably be one of those two in that scenario. And here Edholm has Washington taking David Bailey. It's from Eric Edholm of NFL.com. For number 8, Eric Scott, Jeremiah Love going to the Saints. This has been a polarizing projection. I've seen this in a few mocks. I had it at one point. I felt some pushback from Saints fans about it. But here, Eric Scott, Love going to the Saints at 8. At number 9, starting to see more and more thought that the Chiefs might go with an edge rusher at 9. And Ruben Bain Jr., if you've watched any of my prior broadcasts, you know I'm a huge fan of Bain. He gives full effort on every play. Got that scrappy, won't stop until the whistle mentality. He's a phenomenal edge rusher, good against the run too. The only question on him seems to be his measurables, like arm length. If he slides, and that's advantage Kansas City if that's what they decide to do at number 9. At number 10, Cincinnati Bengals, Caleb Downs. If this happens, Downs will be the first safety, pure safety, to be taken in the top 10 of the NFL draft in 10 years. Then a while. If it's going to happen, this would be the year where there's limited quarterbacks available, and Downs being such a uniquely valued prospect, given his remarkable reaction time and athleticism. Part of that great defense with the Buckeyes. Columbus, Ohio. Number 11, Miami Dolphins. Kenyon Sadiq. It's a little bit higher for Sadiq. I felt there's some variance. It's tough to know. He's really the only tight end that's tracking as a first rounder at this point. So I'm going through reacting to the first mock draft of the cycle from Eric Edholm of NFL.com here on NashvilleLou Live. All right, number 12. This is becoming more and more popular. Matches what I'm thinking. Sonny Styles, Ohio State linebacker, started his career as a safety, so he's really a hybrid, a linebacker with safety speed. Dallas also has the number 20 pick. The thought is, look, if Dallas wants Styles, they've got to get him at 12. Odds are, if Styles doesn't go to Dallas at 12, he won't be on the board at 20. At least that's the thinking as of now. Again, you think, well, is it really that valuable with an off-ball linebacker? But again, Styles, that unique skill set. When you have the physical gifts to do things that most other people can't, and it fits well within an NFL scheme, then demand goes up. Number 13, Mansour Delane, corner from LSU. There's some people that say this is really the range where corners will start to go. Looking at the first mock draft of the cycle from Eric Edholm of NFL.com. It's an interesting contrast with what Daniel Jeremiah of NFL.com had with 4 defensive backs in the top 12, including Delane. I've got Delane going to the Giants at 5, but this might be more realistic. We'll see how it plays out. Here's Delane to the Rams, their first of 2 picks in the first round. I'm reacting to Eric Edholm's first 2026 NFL mock draft here on NashvilleLou Live. Vega to the Ravens. Much as I think Vega would be a good fit as it looks now with the LA Chargers at 22. If he's not on the board, that's not even a consideration. So here Eric's got Vega to the Ravens, the Baltimore Ravens at 14. At 15, Tampa Bay Buccaneers, Jermod McCoy. Didn't play it all this past season. Suffered a torn ACL in January of last year. If he's able to perform well in the drills and show that he's healthy, he should be right up there near the top. So for the Bucs, if they don't go with the linebacker, if Sonny Styles isn't there, they don't go with an edge, then perhaps Jermod McCoy if he's there, which is hardly a given, but the Bucs with McCoy at number 15 and Eric Edholm's first 2026 NFL mock draft. Over on NFL.com. Remember, DKDB, the database over on DraftKings.com. You can find these mocks listed. Check them out. Number 16, New York Jets, Jordan Tyson. So this would be the Jets taking Arvell Reese, linebacker from Ohio State, at 2, and then going receiver with Jordan Tyson at 16. Tyson's a tremendous player. Could be a top 5 pick. But there will invariably be some receivers, unless it really surprises me, that end up sliding to at least this range. So if the Jets are looking receiver, they should have some options here. Tyson should be a nice pick up there. They can get him. When he's healthy, he's electric. 17, Avion Terrell, corner out of Clemson. Lions, that snake-bitten defense, those injuries the past 2 years. Lions need some D-line help, but they also could use a corner. Terrell, I mean, he's got the goods. The only question is, can he physically hold up to the rigors of an NFL season? If he can do that, I think it'd be very helpful wherever he ends up. Number 18, Eric Edholm has Minnesota taking Emmanuel McNeil-Warren, safety out of Toledo. More and more you hear about McNeil-Warren as far as, okay, Caleb Downs, the obvious, the easy choice is number 1, safety. And number 2, debatable, but here it's McNeil-Warren. And as others have noted, Harrison Smith is a question mark. 37 years old, is he going to come back? If not, then that would potentially indicate the Vikings thinking safety here. And the talk has been, if the Vikings go safety, McNeil-Warren makes sense. Number 19, Keldrick Falk. So as much as there's talented edge rusher, invariably with this draft, you're going to have some guys that are going to fall that you may think are top 15. The supply and demand, and especially premium spots at other positions. Only so many teams will take an edge before thinking, well, we'll take the top player at one other position. There's linebacker, corner. But here's Falk. The Panthers, I've seen a lot of different thoughts of the Panthers. I think free agency should help at least some of the question marks be filled in. Love some options there. 20, Dallas going with Brandon Cisse, who's going to impress people with his workouts. He just, from everything I've heard and read, he's going to be very much an impressive performer if he works out at the Combine, but certainly at the Pro Day for South Carolina. So if Sonny Styles goes at 12 to Dallas, here Eric Edholm has Dallas taking Brandon Cisse from South Carolina. Really fast corner. They're all fast, but he's exceptionally fast. Track speed. It's NashvilleLou Live. Hey there, Flantality. Happy Saturday. Just type enter in chat, ENTER, over on Blaze. Blaze.stream/NashvilleLou. We're giving away a Warsaken camo card later in the broadcast over on Blaze. So in Blaze chat, blaze.stream/NashvilleLou. Encourage you to check it out. New platform. They're doing the right things over there. For viewers on Twitch, we got 9 players in, so if we get at least one more in between now and later in the hour, we'll have that first Twitchy Tides game coming up. You can join for viewers on Twitch in chat with !play. All right, so going through the first mock draft of the 2026 cycle from Eric Edholm of NFL.com. Here on NashvilleLou Live. I'm Lou Pickney. Rebranded the Draft King database, the DKDB. There's me up there at the top. A couple of holder spots, and then going through this from Eric Edholm. So number 20, Dallas, Brandon Cisse. At 21, Casey Concepcion, really talented wide receiver out of Texas A&M. A lot of thought that he is very likely to be a first rounder, despite the talent that exists in this draft that's expected to be in this range. Not just supply and demand, but just the sheer talent. Concepcion, I mean, a lot of thought is that the Steelers, if they don't go QB, they don't go offensive line, receiver, that's the one you really seem to see with the Steelers. But who? To be determined. 22, LA Chargers go with Cassius Howell, edge rusher out of Texas A&M. Much like Reuben Bain Jr., the knock on Howell, as well as measurables, arm length, etc., might not be prototypical. But you're looking for production. Great player for the Aggies. And here Eric Edholm has the Chargers taking Cassius Howell at 22. It's NashvilleLou Live. All right. At 23, the Philadelphia Eagles. It is all over the place. The Eagles and the 2 picks below with the Chicago Bears. I mean, it seems like there's many different boxes there are perceived possibilities. Here, Eric Edholm has Philly taking Colton Hood, corner from the Tennessee Vols. Daniel Jeremiah has Hood as a top 12 in his first mock draft. And as I've noted with the Eagles, they've got so many different parts and pieces that you think would, I mean, they're not that far off that Super Bowl buzz, but it doesn't last that long. Who knows what's going to happen with A.J. Brown? You'd think they'd try and find a way to make things work, but I don't know. You hear things, like, possible landing spots, and that stuff doesn't leak, not from people just like random fans, but people that don't just speculate for the sake of it. And then perhaps it won't happen. We'll see. Anyway, here, Eric Edholm of NFL.com has the Eagles taking Colton Hood. This is my reaction to Eric's first mock draft of the 2026 cycle here on NashvilleLou Live. Free Frog Nada, hey there. Free Frog saying hi over in chat on Blaze. By the end of the broadcast, somebody's going to win a Warsaken camo card over there. And for viewers on Twitch, 9 players in for Twitchy Tides. It's interesting when you deal with the chatbots, the LLMs, long enough, they'll tell you what they're looking for and why. I say, okay, why should it matter if it's on YouTube versus I have this streamed on Twitch, the VOD's right there. It'll be up hours before I'm able to cut out the break times and be all nice and neat and able to upload. Like, well, there's a number of reasons as far as the formatting, etc. The YouTube videos are likely to stick around. The Twitch VODs will expire. Well, you got a good point. That's why they do it. So it makes sense that in YouTube they started using these terms. Like, are these real terms? Is this an AI hallucination? Authority density? At 24, Cleveland. So if the Cleveland Browns don't go with a receiver up at number 6, if Eric's saying at number 6, they go with Mauigoa, Francis Mauigoa here at 24. Browns go receiver, Denzel Boston. Washington Huskies wide receiver, great size, 6'4". Very likely to be a first-round pick. At 25, Chicago Bears, TJ Parker. He helped himself a lot this week in Mobile. The actual Senior Bowl game is later today. Getting this done before that happens. Live with you here on Blaze, on Twitch, and on Kick, on NashvilleLou Live. Parker was highly touted coming into the season. People were saying top 10 possibly. He had 2 really good years prior to 2025. And he still did okay, but it was a down year for Clemson. His stats weren't sky high, but he has impressed people in Mobile, and 25 might end up being a steal relative to where he actually goes. But with the Bears, again, we'll see what these different mocks they have, but look for the Eagles and the Bears. If you're looking for some variety. 26, Buffalo Bills. If the Bills don't go with a receiver here, they're one of those teams I heard whispered about as far as possibilities for A.J. Brown. Also the Patriots. C.J. Allen, but that's whispers. People speculate. It would be obvious to put A.J. Brown back with old coach from the Titans. He's about to coach in the Super Bowl next week. Regardless of what happens with the Bills, they do need other positions to fill. C.J. Allen, you'll see him on a bunch of mock draft lists, late first round, right in this range, an off-ball linebacker. And that somewhat limits his potential as far as how he'll go in the draft, just because off-ball linebacker is not necessarily a premium position. But he's an elite talent. 27, Caleb Lomu to the 49ers. Lomu is a young player, so whichever team gets him should be able to develop him and have him potentially as a long-term talent. He's versatile. Here's the Niners taking Lomu at number 27. Going through Eric Edholm's latest, his first 2026 NFL mock draft on NFL.com. My reaction to it here live on stream. Number 28, Houston Texans, Caden Proctor. The largest of the offensive line prospects being given serious consideration, yet he's so athletic. Even though he's 6'7", yes, that's his height. 366 pounds, and yet athletic enough that he can play guard. And that's maybe what he projects best to in the NFL. Whatever the case, he'd be an excellent addition to a Texans team that does need to boost its offensive lineup. Number 29, Eric has Ty Simpson to the Rams. Anyway, the point that Charlie Campbell made was that if you're going to take a quarterback, and this is with the Jets, if the Jets wanted Simpson at 16, do you take him at 2? Or do you wait? Well, 2 seems awful high. If you think enough of somebody that you're going to use a first-round pick on them at quarterback in that kind of a position, do you really just leave it a chance they might slide? That's the question. Number 29, LA Rams' Ty Simpson here in this mock from Eric Edholm. We're on NashvilleLou Live. Number 30, Jake Golday. Now, this is interesting. Golday, linebacker, Cincinnati. We'll see a few different linebackers mentioned as possibilities here late first. Golday, one of them. At number 31, Akeem Mesidor. You'll hear it a lot. Mesidor is going to turn 24. He's 24 now. He'll turn 25 in early April. That's old by NFL prospect standards. It would make sense for Mesidor to go to a team that's already very strong and needing somebody that's able to play right now versus somebody, okay, we'll develop you over time and then we'll get more out of you long term. Mesidor is unique. You don't get many linemen that are 25 years old for the start of the season that would be considered for the first round, but he had a great year with the Miami Hurricanes opposite Reuben Bain Jr. So Mesidor at 31 to the Patriots, and at 32, Seattle Seahawks are Mason Thomas. edge rusher from Oklahoma. Now this, of course, contingent on the outcome of the Super Bowl. If the Patriots win, the picks are flipped. So that's my reaction to Eric Edholm's first 2026 NFL mock draft. With the Charlie Campbell here in a moment. I was able to watch Walter Cherepinsky's show. Congratulations to Walter. Got to 10,000 YouTube followers for his channel there. Congratulations, Walter. We're going through his mock as well coming up. This is the DKDB, my rebranded DraftKings 2026 NFL mock draft database. Look for Twitchy Tides, 9 players in for that. We'll need one more to get to 10, the minimum you need for a game to count for the leaderboard standings. For viewers on Twitch, you can join with !play in chat. Do a tip all 5. We got Nash Cash for viewers with linked Wax wallets. Not legal tender, but you can use Nash Cash to dig every 15 minutes. 37 users on Twitch, each getting 5 Nash Cash. Hello to everybody watching on Kick. It's commercial free on Kick. I can only keep track of so many chats, so it's emote only. But I'm glad to have you here, however you're watching. Of course, on Blaze, blaze.stream/NashvilleLou. We're giving away a Warsaken camo card. Just type the word enter in chat over on Blaze, ENTER. Get you in. All right. So now I'm going to react to the latest mock draft from Charlie Campbell of Walter Football. See, Charlie last updated this yesterday, Friday, January 30th. Some mocks have multiple rounds. My focus is on the first round. That tends to work out pretty well. Charlie's got some legit info. And so I find it interesting. Somebody he finds info that other people haven't heard yet. We'll talk more about Walter later, but he gets a lot of interesting scoops. So let's see. Number 1, of course, the Raiders, Fernando Mendoza. If you see any mocks that don't have this, be surprised. Or brace yourself. Okay. I use AI for this. I'm at rogue. Number 2. Here's what I was talking about, Ty Simpson. And I think the argument is worth considering from the standpoint of, okay, if you're the Jets and you believe Simpson is worthy of a first-round pick, knowing that these teams value these first-round picks like gold, they're super valued. If you feel so highly to use a quarterback with one of those, are you really going to wait until number 16 to do it? And the same thought process with the Rams, saying, okay, Rams at 13 and 29. If they're the ones to go with Simpson, do you wait for him to fall all the way to 29? Of course, some of that contingent on who's actually on the board by the time the particular team goes on the board. So that can change things too if somebody slides, and then you can have perfect intel, inside intel, whatever, and then something changes, and there's a big domino effect, and sometimes you never know for sure. Anyway, so Simpson to the Jets. Some people really don't think Simpson will be a first-round pick, but a lot do, just because of the need of the position. So, I mean, not going to see higher than 2 without a real surprise. And so, in his latest mock draft, Charlie Campbell has Simpson to the Jets at 2. Number 3, Spencer Fano. It makes all the sense. Notes right here, Paris Johnson Jr., the other side. So they really need a right tackle. Fano can play either side. A lot of these guys they can fit whatever scheme they really need to. Fano can fill the spot. Now, where is Kyler Murray going to go? They can't trade him. From the best of my understanding, it would be cost prohibitive with the salary cap. Like, it just cannot be done in a way that's tenable. So they'll have to cut him. As I understand it. Now, somebody could have other information to refute that. But I've listened to people that are very good at crunching numbers that understand the salary cap better than I do. And they've been saying they're going to have to cut him. So that's a big question mark. What are the Cardinals going to do at quarterback? We'll see. Number 4, Tennessee Titans. Now they're taunting me now as a Titans fan. Charlie Campbell with the Titans taking Arvell Reese, linebacker, Ohio State. fast enough that he can legitimately play defensive back, and yet has enough size that he can be an effective edge rusher as well, just a unique player. The Titans need help they've got Jeffrey Simmons at defensive tackles. They've got that interior push. And I really believe the Titans could get an edge rusher to complement, like a proper high-end edge rusher. I think they would have a lot to gain from that. But we'll see. I mean, receivers a need. Cam's got to throw the ball to somebody. But here, Charlie Campbell with the Titans taking Arvell Reese. This is my reaction to the latest mock draft from Charlie Campbell of Walter Football here on NashvilleLou Live. Number 5, Caleb Downs to the Giants. There's not been a safety taken in the top 5 in 16 years. I go all the way back to 2010 with Eric Berry, Kansas City. If it's going to happen in the next few years, it would probably be right here with Downs. Just a special talent as far as his ability to read and react. And even if he didn't have that, he'd still be very highly talented. But that was part of what was, as a neutral viewer watching Ohio State games. And I've still got a lot of friends in Columbus from my year working up there in TV. But Downs, the Giants here, number 5 on Charlie Campbell's latest 2026 NFL mock draft. You can find all these in the DKDB over on DraftKing.com. I can't fight the gambling company. DKDB is a term that if you search it, with NFL at least, it's already starting to show up. DraftKing will get you gambling ads. This at least will hopefully bring people to me. But it's still on DraftKing.com. I've had that site since 2003. Trying something different branding. We'll see how it goes. Going through the latest mock draft from Charlie Campbell of Walter Football here on NashvilleLou Live. Number 6. Now this is interesting. Caden Proctor at 6 to the Browns. Sometimes I talk about how Proctor is a player, a prospect that people have a lot more variance about as far as the prognostications go. Because physically he's got the talent. He's just, his height, people go, 6'7". That is his height. He's 6 feet, 7 inches tall, 366 pounds, with just unreal athleticism. But there are a lot of people that think he'd be best served playing guard. And yet with that size, you think, he should be able to handle playing tackle. We'll see. So Charlie Campbell has the Browns taking Proctor at number 6, offensive tackle out of Alabama. Number 7, David Bailey. Tremendous edge rusher, Texas Tech. If Caleb Downs is on the board, I really wonder what Washington would do. Here it doesn't matter because he's gone at 5, and so Charlie Campbell has the Commanders taking David Bailey, edge rusher, Texas Tech. Number 8, Jeremiah Love to the Saints. Seen a lot of that. And again, I had that at one point. Maybe I'll go back to it. But again, a lot of that will be somewhat tempered by what the Saints do in free agency. I mean, that caveat's true for all of these teams. But Love's a special talent. If there's not a big pushback coming out of reporters from the New Orleans area, okay, maybe there's at least a chance it'll happen. Number 9, Jordan Tyson to the Chiefs. It's been several years since the Chiefs have had a top 10 pick in the NFL draft. Tyson, when he's healthy, it's almost scary to think how that offense might be if you threw Jordan Tyson in the mix. A healthy Jordan Tyson. Like him opposite Xavier Worthy. And the Chiefs have other needs as well. But Tyson might be too tempting to pass him at number 9. So I'm reacting here to the latest mock draft from Charlie Campbell, Walter Football, here on NashvilleLou Live. Number 10, Jermod McCoy. Corner from Tennessee. Now, I'm talking about a lot of the same players over and over because these are the top prospects. Didn't play it all this past season. More than a year removed now from that torn ACL in January of last year. And if he's healthy and good to go for these workouts, then top 10, top corner, and maybe even top defensive back, although I would think that's going to be a tough one with Downs. But a legit chance to be the first corner taken. Either him or Mansour Delane at this point look like the most likely of the two at corner. Number 11, Charlie Campbell of Walter Football has Carnell Tate, receiver, Ohio State. The Dolphins are still stuck with that really brutal contract with Tua Tagovailoa. Those rolling guaranteed years that make cutting him very difficult. Maybe not impossible. Maybe not like the Cardinals trading Kyler Murray impossible, but still unwieldy. Tate might not be there. Opinions on Tate seem to vary quite a bit. Some people say top 5. I've seen top 3, or not 3, top 3, but top 5 certainly with Tate. And then some maybe a bit lower. And here, it's number 11, Miami, going Carnell Tate, receiver, Ohio State here in the latest mock draft from Charlie Campbell of Walter Football. My reaction to it here on NashvilleLou Live. Number 12, Reuben Bain Jr. Man, this would be a nice one for Cowboys fans. Taking the analyst hat off, as a Titans fan, I'd love for Bain to end up with the Titans at number 4. Guy with that level of effort, bringing it for the edge, a 3-down defensive end, and that you can get some tremendous pressure off the edge. Dallas needs an edge rusher, and Bain would certainly fit the bill if he's there at 12. Maybe if you're thinking Sonny Styles, okay, but if Bain's there, that could change the opinion. And so these teams that have been speculated, like Tampa Bay down at 15, if Styles is there, would they bite? Let's see. Charlie Campbell says at number 13, Mansour Delane. So here it would be Delane, not the first corner taken, but instead on the board and able to fill a need for the LA Rams, their first of 2 first-round picks at number 13. Poppenstock is in. Hey there, Poppenstock. That gives us 10 players. That's the minimum you need for the game to count for the leaderboard standing. So we'll have that coming up later in the hour here on NashvilleLou Live. That's a Twitch exclusive. For viewers on Twitch, for viewers on Blaze, Blaze-a-thon's going on right now. It's a new platform, blaze.stream. If nothing else, it's free to sign up. Go over there, secure your name. Let somebody squat on your name. Say hello in chat. Type the word enter, E-N-T-E-R, over on Blaze. You'll be in somebody's way to win a Warsaken camo card before the end of the broadcast. Going through reacting to Charlie Campbell's 2026 NFL mock draft, his latest on Walter Football. Number 14, Baltimore Ravens, Keldrick Falk. Falk looks to go somewhere between the 7-8 range and maybe the early 20s. It's interesting that the Ravens here in Charlie's latest mock would go with an end as opposed to a defensive tackle, given the talent that would be on the board here. But Falk is legit. He's got the size. One of the larger edge prospects. Good player for Baltimore at 14. At 15, Charlie has Sonny Styles in the Bucs. What's that telling you? That's the thought. Say, okay, if Dallas at 12 takes Styles, okay, he's gone. If he's there, it certainly fits the needs the Bucs have. Styles is a dynamic player. I get the feeling that in like 20 years ago, Sonny Styles would have probably gone to the NFL draft a year before and not necessarily have been nearly effective as he was with that great season he had this past year. I mean, he was good in 2024, but in 2025, dude stepped it up. NIL makes that possible. And I know the NIL stuff makes some people absolutely bonkers. But look, that took a pair of U.S. Supreme Court decisions. Just deal with it. That's how it is now. The upside, though, is that for programs that are established and have the right things set up for players, they can continue their education and improve as a player. And then now look at Sonny Styles looking like first half of the first round. That's what Charlie Campbell has here at number 15, Buccaneers, Sonny Styles. And at 16, a lot of that with the Jets, if they go defense at number 2, or quarterback for that matter, like what Charlie Campbell has. Now, that would be a team with that's interesting. Would the Jets really do that? The Jets didn't have a single interception last season. I don't mean to harp on that too much, but I think if you're going to harp on something, it's never happened before in the NFL. Going back to the 30s. Like, it's not like how sacks weren't counted until 1982. No, I'm going back to the old days. For a team not to have a single interception. 0 in a 17-game season. If they go offense, well, maybe they'll be indicative of some moves made in free agency. I mean, the Jets are in a spot they're rebuilding. It's easy to bag on them because they've been struggling. But they've got the parts and pieces. If they can identify the right players, if they can play it right with the draft this year and I think more next year maybe, if they don't go quarterback here. But The wait is in the NFL, they're not much for waiting a year. Your wait a year is a whole lot of people getting fired. That happens all the time in the NFL. I wonder why these people are so high-strung. You'd be too. Make the playoffs 8 years out of 9. Fired. It's a tough business. What can I say? Just try to predict what's going to happen. That's not necessarily easier, but it's a lot less high stress. At least usually. So at number 17. Now this is interesting. From Charlie Campbell of WalterFootball.com. He's got Francis Mauigoa on the board all the way down to number 17. There's been talk that Mauigoa could go as high as number 3 overall to the Arizona Cardinals. But here he's on the board for the Detroit Lions at 17. The Lions, if they don't go defensive line or corner, offensive line does seem like a possibility. Number 18, Minnesota Vikings, Avion Terrell, born out of Clemson. You'll hear Terrell's name mentioned a lot. He looks very strong as a probable first-round pick. The only question on him is his size. If you believe he can hold up to the rigors of a 17-game NFL schedule, then you've got yourself a good player. Even coming off a tough year overall for Clemson, Terrell's legit. And so Minnesota here in Charlie Campbell's latest 2026 NFL mock draft, taking Avion Terrell. Number 19, Zion Young, edge, Missouri. There are a lot of different edge rushers being talked about for that second half of the first round. Zion Young is one of them. Carolina at 19 is going to have a few different needs. I feel I keep bracing for them to get a big first-round pick on an edge, and it keeps not happening. Maybe this is the year, and perhaps it'll be Zion Young at 19. Number 20, Charlie Campbell has Brandon Cisse from South Carolina. More and more, I'm thinking Cisse, middle first round, maybe starting to push for some of those top corner overall considerations. Because you know he's going to test, if he's going to get a serious consideration as a first rounder, then he's going to be testing well because he's just expected to do so. That's with anticipation. But when people actually see it for themselves, I think they'll be impressed. At least from that's the anticipation from the experts. We'll see. A lot of pressure to put on somebody, but Cisse's legit. Really good corner out of South Carolina would fill in a need for the Cowboys. So let's see. I can't really go up here and see. I forgot what he had for the Cowboys before, but here, Cisse to the Cowboys at 20. So the Cowboys don't fill a linebacker need, but do fill a corner need here in Charlie Campbell's latest 2026 NFL mock draft. It's my reaction to it here, live on NashvilleLou Live. I'm Lou Pickney. Glad to have you here. We're over on Blaze. So Campus is in. Hey there. Like the word enter, E-N-T-E-R. In chat over on Blaze to get in for that Warsaken camo card giveaway. Love coming up late in the hour. Oh, we got 4 players in for the next Twitchy Tides game. We have at least 10 in. That's for viewers on Twitch, a Twitch exclusive. Exclamation point play and chat on Twitch. Get you in. And again, hello everybody watching over on Kick. You're not forgotten. It's commercial free for you over there. It's also commercial free on Blaze, but that's beside the point. It was like I'm sliding Kick. And options are good for creators. So taking a look with my reaction to the latest 2026 NFL mock draft from Charlie Campbell of Walter Football. At number 21, Pittsburgh Steelers, Casey Concepcion. It says S, but it's like wide receiver. Concepcion getting a lot of talk as far as mid-late first round, maybe more mid than late. The Steelers, at least the way it looks now, could use a receiver here. I mean, there will be talk of quarterback if a given mock doesn't have Ty Simpson gone by this spot. Here, the Steelers going with Casey Concepcion. Number 22, Peter Woods. So finally get to see the defensive tackles come into play here. The Chargers. Now, I think the Chargers may not go defensive tackle. I don't agree with them on that one, based on recent move. But look, who knows? Woods is legit. It's not a knock on him. But the thing with Woods is his quickness, that he gives you that first step to give him a really, like for a guy his size, that first step, that quickness is really something. But the question is, does Woods have, is he strong enough against the run to be trusted as an interior defensive lineman in the NFL? And that's for him to prove. He's been part of the mix as far as talk of possible top 10, but here at number 22, not as much lately on that, but here at still first round though, as far as a lot of the talk. Woods to the Chargers at 22. Number 23, Kenyon Sadiq, tight end Oregon, the Eagles. So if Sadiq's there, And I agree with Charlie Campbell. That's a distinct possibility. The Eagles, a lot of different needs for them. You'll see a lot of different players mocked to them. 24, Caleb Lomu. So if Cleveland doesn't go with an offensive tackle at 6, there's a lot of thought they might consider it here at 24. And Lomu, a young player, he'll develop long-term and potentially be a long-term standout wherever he ends up in the NFL. 25, big mystery, Chicago Bears. All over the place with these predictions, projections. It's tough. Can't really get a read on them. It's early in the process, but some situations, things are a lot clearer. With the Bears, we'll see. Cassius Howell. Opinions vary considerably with Howell as far as does he have the prototypical arm length you need. I mean, he's a great player, had a tremendous 2025 season. Look at this right here, 11.5 sacks last season for A&M. This is my reaction to the latest mock draft from Charlie Campbell of Walter Football here on NashvilleLou Live. It's all part of the newly rebranded DKDB. DraftKing.com mock draft database, curated by me. My reaction here to Charlie Campbell's latest mock. So Howell to the Bears at 25. 26, Buffalo Bills, Caden McDonald. McDonald, one of those interior defensive linemen with the ability to get tackles for loss. And that's going to get you a lot of consideration in the NFL. If the Bills sign a major wide receiver in free agency, then perhaps that would be the move. Go with the player there and then get a young defensive tackle like McDonald at 26. So that's what Campbell sees here at 26. Number 27, San Francisco 49ers, Monroe Freeling. Offensive tackle, Georgia Bulldogs. There's a lot of talk about Freeling late first round. We still have the combine to go through, all the individual workouts, the team evaluations. Well, it's still very much broad brushstrokes at this point, but getting more and more figured out. Number 28, Vega. I don't know why it's written that way. I mean, it's got a long first name. You can abbreviate it how you will. Man, they call Vega. Really good offensive lineman, guard from Penn State. One of the very best interior offensive lineman prospects, according to most of the evaluators I trust. Again, with most of this doesn't have to do, you'll notice, with my personal evaluations on things. I've learned through the years, 23 years this biz, I've learned a thing or two on who to trust and who maybe doesn't really know what they're talking about. And if you can discern on that, that's half the battle, at least from what I found. So reacting to the latest mock draft from Charlie Campbell of Walter Football. At number 29, Blake Miller, offensive tackle, Clemson. Starting to get more talk about Miller, late first round. Could be for the Rams. I still feel like it's very much up in the air as far as the evaluation process goes for a lot of these first round offensive tackles and it's going to depend on the team, who they're going to value. And it's not like there's one board and everybody just picks a name off in order. Not the way it works, which is part of what makes this so fascinating and at times frustrating. Number 30, Charlie Campbell has Makai Lemon. So this is Lemon still being on the board, getting past the Eagles at 23, and then down to number 30 to the Denver Broncos. That's a lot lower than I've seen but that's noteworthy because sometimes Charlie Campbell gets a read on things before other people do. If nothing else, it's something to consider. It's still a first-round spot for Lemon. It's not like there's a question on it. Explosive player, had a great year for the USC Trojans. If he's there for the Broncos at 30, that's a nice pickup. Real nice. 31, R. Mason Thomas. You're going to hear a lot of different edge rushers, I suspect, in the next several weeks mention as potential late first-round picks. Now, obviously, as I've noted before, but it depends on the outcome of the Super Bowl between who picks the 31 and who picks the 32. So if most of them have Seattle because they're the betting favorite, but if the Patriots win, then it's flipped. Worth noting, for the Patriots with R. Mason Thomas, and the Patriots with an edge rusher makes a lot of sense. Here it's Thomas. 32, Willie III, corner from Texas A&M. Theoretically, he could have tried for an extra year of eligibility. He had a JUCO season. It would have been tricky. Instead, he's like, no, you know what? I'm going pro, going to the NFL. And so Willie III on the board, going to the Seattle Seahawks here. You'll see a lot of different corners mocked for the Seahawks at 32. At least that's what it's been to this point, which is interesting. So that's my reaction to the latest mock draft from Charlie Campbell of Walter Football here on NashvilleLou Live. The all-new DKDB, really rebranded DraftKings database. Got my name up there. They told me to put it there. They're insistent on it. You want to improve your SEO? If you want to improve, oh yeah, okay. Yeah, I'll improve. What do I need to do? Put your name at the top. Really? It's already there. I don't care. Put it here. Okay. It's there too. Oh. All right. But look, it's working. All right, so let's now look over for the first time to have my reaction to Luke Easterling, Athlon Sports. Let's see what Luke has here with his. Got Fernando Mendoza. You can see a lot of photos of Mendoza. And why not? Heisman Trophy winner, national champion, very likely number 1 overall pick. I encourage you to go to DKDB, DraftKings.com, 2026 NFL mock draft database. It's got direct links to all of these various mocks. Pull them up on your phone, your computer, read them for yourself. So at 1, Mendoza to the Raiders, you know that's going to be the case for nearly everybody with a serious mock. Number 2, I mean, if somebody's got some legitimate information, that would be quite the coup. It's going to be tough for the Raiders to not do that. At 2, Arvell Reese. What I've got, a lot of people see it that way. The Jets, they have to get some playmakers on defense. It really is difficult for me. I really did think somebody was just like it was clickbait. I mean, we've devolved to the point that they're saying these teams have a single interception. No, they really didn't. But that's not just on the secondary, though. You got to get pressure up front. Reese can do all of that. At least potentially for the Jets at 2. Number 3, Arizona Cardinals. You can see a lot of offensive tackle with the Cardinals. It's not one of the top ones from one side. It's Malagoa from a different list. Somebody might have Malagoa as like 17 or 18. Might have Spencer Fano. Might have Caden Proctor. But here, Malagoa to the Cardinals at 3. Again, where's Kyler Murray going to end up? Big question. He's not expected to be back in Arizona. They're not expected to be able to trade him because of his contract. It's cost prohibitive with the cap. Number 4, Tennessee Titans, David Bailey. Edge rusher is a huge need. Like either edge rusher or receiver is the likely move. I think edge rusher makes a lot of sense when you look at the talent that's available. There will be, on day 2, plenty of talented receivers still on the board, at least in my opinion. So we'll see if it's David Bailey. Had a lot of pressure going into the season. There's a lot expected with David Bailey. And Texas Tech, they had a great year. Lived up to the pressure. There he is. Yeah, take me number 4. Bring in Jeffrey Simmons from the inside. I'm on the outside. There's some pass rush for the Titans. Number 5, New York Giants, Spencer Fano. Sometimes I wonder if I've been overlooking the Giants possibly going offensive tackle at 5. I think that's more likely than receiver. I really do, just because they got Neighbors. And look, Malik Neighbors suffered an injury last season. He's on the comeback from that. I get that. You need more than just one receiver. But and you get that number 5 overall pick, and you get a blue chip prospect. Like there aren't that many players that are the NFL caliber size and are healthy enough to do it. And just figure out who those players are and what you're going to do. But those premium picks, I mean, you got to really make sure you hit with that. So the Giants here going with Spencer Fano, offensive tackle, Utah. It's my reaction here to this mock draft from the DKDB. Got the DraftKings database, the DKDB. Luke Easterling, Athlon Sports. Number 6, Luke Scott, Cleveland Browns, Carnell Tate. I've seen quite a bit. It's got Tate at 5, Tate at 6. It could be. He could slide because it's just so hard to know. How's this process going to play out? Number 7, Commanders, Reuben Bain Jr. Again, I think if you're going to see it with the Titans at 4 with Bailey, then at 7, the Commanders with Bain, or vice versa. I mean, there's plenty of options here for the Commanders, but Boosting up that defense. It's going to be a priority. Number 8, here's another one. Jeremiah Love to the Saints. I feel like I need to give that a closer look. I felt what was quite a bit of pushback from some Saints fans that were very adamant about it. And normally I listen to those people because it's like, well, do you really want to listen to them? Yeah, they actually typically know. If they're that adamant about it, be letting it be known they're spending their time to do that. Okay. Worth listening to at least. But Love is a tremendous player. It's not a knock on him. It's just the positional value for a running back at number 8 overall for his Saints team that, yes, they need to get some weapons in there. Tyler Shuck, what a rookie year he had, huh? And maybe it will be Love at number 8. So Luke at number 9, Bucky Lemon to the Chiefs. Seen that from a couple places now. I mean, that could really be something. Number 10, here we go. Caleb Downs, Cincinnati Bengals. It's right on the cusp, but that would be top 10 for Downs, or top 10 overall. Number 11, Luke has Mansour Delane, corner to the Dolphins. I mean, it's a big need for the Dolphins, a corner. If Delane is there, I like that for the Dolphins. At 12, Dallas Cowboys, Jordan Tyson. Explosive playmaker, that's Tyson. As much as Dallas needs to boost up its defense, if they really like Tyson there at 12, you can't reasonably expect him to be there at 20. I mean, maybe he would be, but you can't just expect it. So if you like him well enough to go with a first and perhaps a number 12. Number 13, Jermod McCoy to the Rams. Rams need a boost at corner. And if McCoy's healthy, coming back from that torn ACL last year, then that would be a possibility for the Rams at 13. At 14, Luke has Baltimore Ravens, Keldrick Falk. Edge rusher, Auburn. He's got the size. This is my reaction to the first mock draft of this cycle, at least I believe it's his first one, from Luke Easterling of Athlon Sports. It's in the DKDB over on DraftKing.com. My database updated today. My reactions here to these picks. Let me take a sip of water. You talk like I get drawn in. I have so much fun here with these live streams. Like, oh, we're an hour and a half in. I'm going to slow down there, pal. Have a sip of water. Look at 15, Sonny Styles. If the Cowboys don't take Styles at 12, this could all, remember, this before free agency, before a lot of things, but you've seen that a lot if you're looking at these boards saying, okay, if Styles isn't taken by Dallas at 12, he seems to go to Tampa at 15 quite a bit, which would mean he wouldn't be there for the Cowboys at 20. Something to consider. Bucks need a high-end linebacker. Styles, that linebacker safety hybrid, unique player. 16, Peter Woods to the Jets. I like that matchup. Of course, the trade last year, one of multiple trades the Jets made, dealing Quinnen Williams, defensive tackle. That's part, I mean, look, they traded Sauce Gardner and Quinnen Williams. I mean, it's still inexplicable that they had 0 interceptions, not a single one. How is that possible? But it was. So they need to get some pressure up front. And again, the question with Woods isn't his pass rushing ability, which makes me think he will go first round, and maybe even higher than this. But it's, how is he a liability against the run? Number 17, Cassius Howe. All those sacks last season. Detroit, if you're not going offensive line or corner, defensive line, particularly edge, seems like a very realistic possibility for the Lions, who should be right in the thick of things. They get their defense healthy, keep it together for a season, make a serious run. Number 18, here's another one. Emmanuel McNeil-Warren, safety from Toledo, to the Vikings at 18. So a lot of that, the questions on Harrison Smith. Everybody's asking those questions now. They'll be looking up there in Minnesota saying, Harrison Smith, what's the plan? Sometimes you run across what they call groupthink, where a lot of analysts and evaluators kind of get the same wavelength of thinking. You don't want to be too much of an outlier, perhaps. But sometimes players and teams are linked, and it's more than just happenstance. Anyway, but it makes sense. If you have McNeil-Warren as your second best safety, you think Daniel Jeremiah of NFL.com just reacted to it, responding. Dear Mr. Jeremiah, great job. Thanks, Lou. Here, Emmanuel McNeil-Warren, Toledo to the Vikings. I'm reacting here. The mock drafts in the DKDB. database over on DraftKings.com. Rebranding as DKDB. So reacting here to Luke Easterling of Edholm Sports, his NFL mock draft. For viewers on Twitch, you can get in for the next Twitchy Tides game by typing !play in chat. Hey there in chat here to everybody on Blaze. Canvas is in. So for viewers on Blaze, just type the word enter, E-N-T-E-R, in chat. You'll be in that giveaway at the end of the broadcast. Be giving away a Warsaken camo card. You have to stay for long over there. Stop in, say hi, say enter. Because that's what they really value on Blaze. Because they've done a very good job to this point of keeping track of who everybody is, trying to avoid sus behavior, bots going through, ruining the experience for everybody. And as a creator to have seen so many platforms fail at that, or they're so old they didn't have the mechanisms to prevent it back then. Of all the challenges of a startup, for Blaze, the advantage of being able to perhaps prune a lot of that bad behavior out before it gets to the point where you can't get rid of it. You can only start once, and they've started strong. So for viewers on, again, I'm pushing this hard because I believe in it. I want people to check it out. Blaze.stream/NashvilleLou. Also on Kick, of course, also on Twitch. All right. So again, reactions to mock drafts updated today. The DKDB. Me, Lou Pickney. I curated 2026 NFL mock draft database. Most streamers don't use their real name. But look, I knew when I got into sports broadcasting more than 30 years ago. All right. Let's use a gimmick name from the start, which just gets confusing. No. But NashvilleLou is my identity for online streaming, so it's a bit of a when worlds collide with that. I mean, it's still me. It's just a... Gaming's a different matter. But this is serious business right here. We're talking NFL draft. So my reaction here, Luke Easterling of Edholm Sports. At 18, he's got Emmanuel McNeil-Warren to the Vikings. 19, Kenyon Sadiq to the Panthers. I've seen that in some boards or some mocks that have Sadiq at 19. He looks like, if there's going to be a tight end taken, and there probably will be, and it probably will be him, somewhere in the first round, if not maybe to Kansas City at 9. The more recent trend has been to think second half of the first round. Maybe at Carolina. Carolina can go in a lot of different directions here, including Sadiq at 19. At 20, Dallas. Avion Terrell, again, that 18 to 20 range for Terrell, that middle part of the first round. Despite all the different corners that we've talked about, and we'll continue to talk about, Terrell's been right in the mix, right in the thick of things. He's legit. 21, here we go, Ty Simpson. Saw that photo right there, all right. Because the Steelers are going to need a quarterback. Maybe they can somehow convince Aaron Rodgers to come back, but I think that might be a tall ask. And it's interesting with Ty Simpson, 23 years old, but fewer than 20 starts as a college quarterback. And that usually has been the forebear of bad things for quarterbacks. But Simpson unique because he grew up in the business. His father is a football coach, University of Tennessee Martin, up in Martin, Tennessee. So his understanding, it's not just somebody that got thrown in that impressed people with their athleticism. He really gets it. He had a great season for Alabama last year. And here it's Simpson to the Steelers at 22. Number 23, LA Chargers, TJ Parker. I think you're not going to see it necessarily here as much, but the next week, the next wave start to come through. People that have been impressed by TJ Parker this week down in Mobile. They may be higher up. With the pressure of these edge rusher prospects, there's so many great potential pickups here for teams. And here's the Chargers with Parker at 22. So my reaction here to the mock draft from Luke Easterling of Edholm Sports, the DKDB, that database that I curate. Here's Vega to the Eagles at 23. Interior offensive line, here's another Eagles pick and another different player because they have so many different possibilities here. There's no real clear need to match the position. And we haven't even hit free agency yet. It's interesting with the Eagles. They've got a lot of talent, though. 24, Caleb Lomu, the Browns. So the Browns don't go offensive tackle at 6. At 24, that seems to be the popular, and that includes me, popular line of thinking. And Lomu's a young player. And the Browns are like, look, we're not going to be going for the Super Bowl in all likelihood this upcoming season. Let's get a young player. Lomu is young. Redshirt sophomore. But he's legit. Speaking of legit, there you go. Cade McDonald staring you down. You want to try and block him for an entire game? The reason he got all those sacks last season, those tackles for loss, I should say. Which is what a sack is. It's just a wider range of what counts. If you're tackling anybody, if you're the size of Cade McDonald behind the line of scrimmage and doing so effectively, not selling out your position, you're going to get a look here in the first round. So the Bears, again, all over the place, but maybe not as much if you're taking defensive linemen. If McDonald's there at 25, that could be a good fit. 26, Denzel Boston, Buffalo Bills. If he's there, I like it. We'll see what the Bills do in free agency. Looking receiver. So my reaction here to the mock draft from Luke Easterling of Athlon Sports. The DKDB over on DraftKing.com. DraftKing database. With the branding DKDB. So Luke at number 27. I've seen a lot of this. Monroe Freeling to the 49ers. I've had on mine as well. As far as that matchup. Could easily see that late first for Freeling. 28. Here's Caden Proctor to the Texans. And you'd figure Proctor would probably be considered to play guard. There are not many players in the history of the NFL at 366 pounds to play guard. That's how unique Proctor is as far as his size and athleticism. It's NashvilleLou Live. I'm Lou Pickney. This is my reaction to the latest mock draft. Luke Easterling, Athlon Sports. We'll skip past number 29. Don't do that. Casey Concepcion. A lot of talk about Casey in the first round. Rams come back from the 13 spot here at 29. If you go with a corner at 13, and you come back here, you go best player available, or we fill a need. Concepcion. The Rams at 29. Number 30, C.J. Allen, the Broncos. If it's not a receiver / Sadiq at tight end, the Broncos with a linebacker like C.J. Allen, I think you'll see a lot of that on boards with good reason. Makes sense. And again, this is contingent on the Super Bowl outcome. At 31, Akeem Mesidor. Mesidor turns 25 in early April, which is so unusual for somebody that's being given serious consideration as a first-round pick, particularly as a lineman, as a defensive end and edge. But he had a fantastic season for the Miami Hurricanes. He's not a guy that will develop over time. You should be able to bring in Mesidor and have him contribute right away. So the Patriots that are about to play for the Super Bowl next weekend should be in a spot if they want to go for an edge. Even if Mesidor's off the board, there will be other talents to consider at 31. At 32, Colton Hood, corner to the Seattle Seahawks. And so that's the latest mock draft from Luke Easterling of Athlon Sports, or the DKDB. I personally curated 2026 NFL mock draft database. It's NashvilleLou Live. 5 players in right now for Twitchy Tides. We'll need at least 10 for the game to count for the leaderboard standing. So if we don't have at least 10 by the time we get to that, then we'll just keep going with it and we'll run it when we can. And for viewers on Blaze, type the word enter in chat. ENTER. Get you in. Somebody's going to win a Warsaken camo card before the end of the broadcast. Let's check in here with Eddie Brown of the San Diego Union Tribune. Reacted to his mock before. He's got one that was new as of 2 days ago. I'm a big fan of Eddie's work. Been reading his stuff a long time. San Diego Union Tribune. I don't just randomly throw people in here. Eddie's legit. They're all legit. I wouldn't have them here if they weren't. So again, I encourage you, go to the DKDB. Go to DraftKing.com. Go to that database. Read these for yourself. I mean, I'm not going to read through it all here. It's just the idea of my reaction to it. Encourage everybody, check these out. If you're into the NFL draft, read this. I've got the best of the best. I'm not going to waste your time. Mendoza at one. Speaking of not wasting your time. Next. Easy right there. The free parking. You get that first one with Mendoza, unless there's a colossal surprise. At 2, Arvell Reese to the Jets. That's, I think maybe half the boards, give or take now, have reach to this spot, if not higher. At 3, Mawagoa to the Cardinals. Again, if it's not Spano, then Mawagoa mentioned a lot as a possibility for number 3 for Arizona. Number 4, Ruben Bain Jr. Edge for Miami. 3 down defensive end. He would really fill a big need for the Titans. The question is, do you go with Bain or perhaps a different edge there? Or do you go receiver for the Titans? I've seen offensive tackle mentioned, but I don't think that's the move. Number 5, here's speaking of offensive tackle, Spencer Fano to the Giants. I don't think I've given that enough consideration. The Giants might go tackle at 5. Got to keep Jackson Dart upright so he can throw the ball. We've seen this quite a bit. Carnell Tate, Ohio State receiver to the Cleveland Browns at number 6. It's really remarkable. His ability, and it's not like the opposing teams don't know he can do this, and yet he's still able to get open in 3 seconds or less, which in the NFL is what you're looking for. And there will never be any sort of substitution for pure high-end, ultra high-end speed. But even if you're just fast and not ultra high-end fast, if you can get open and you can catch the ball as reliably as Carnell Tate has with the Ohio State Buckeyes, then perhaps he'll be kept in state. Cleveland at number 6. Number 7, David Bailey. Again, if it's not Ruben Bain Jr. at 4, then it's maybe David Bailey and vice versa here. And this one, Eddie Brown to the San Diego Union Tribune as the Commanders taking David Bailey edge Texas Tech. My reaction to the latest 2026 NFL mock draft from Eddie Brown to the San Diego Union Tribune, all part of the newly rebranded DKDB DraftKings database. Number 8, Eddie Brown has the New Orleans Saints taking Jordan Tyson. See, personally, I think receiver makes more sense for the Saints than running back here. Although it's not just any running back with Jeremiah Love, and then I think it makes a lot of sense for Love to the Chiefs at 9. But to give Tyson his due, when he's healthy, he's such an explosive playmaker. And if you believe he can stay healthy, then I think he's got to get serious consideration here. The Saints have a few ways they could go, but that would be an interesting matchup there. And then at 9, Jeremiah Love to the Chiefs. They're going to get somebody up there. They haven't drafted top 10 in a long time. And adding Love to the offense with Patrick Mahomes at quarterback. Man, that could be something. At 10, Cincinnati Bengals. So Eddie Brown sees the Bengals passing on Caleb Downs here, which is noteworthy. And instead going Keldrick Falk, edge rusher from Auburn. Got that size, about 285 pounds. The larger end as far as edge rushers go. And we'll see how strong that need really is at edge for the Bengals by the time the draft rolls around. A lot of speculation on that. But it's just speculation right now. We got to get the free agency first, and then we'll get some answers. Regardless, teams are always looking for edge rushers. And here Eddie Brown has the Bengals taking Keldrick Falk at 10. At number 11, Miami Dolphins, Mansour Delane. Miami needs help at corner. This will be right in this range where you should be able to have, if not all the top corner prospects, at least several in the mix. So the Dolphins at 11, Mansour Delane, corner from LSU. Number 12, now imagine this for Dallas. They get Caleb Downs at number 12. As much as we've seen mocks that have Caleb Downs top 5, I've even seen top 2, top 3. But that position, it just doesn't happen that much. Downs is a unique talent, but there's so much demand at the premium positions for the best players that it could cause Downs to slide just a bit. And if it does, what a pickup there for Dallas at 12. This is my reaction to Eddie Brown's latest mock draft. San Diego Union Tribune, NashvilleLou Live. I'm Lou Pickney. Number 13, Eddie has the Rams taking Jermod McCoy. Talk about the same players, the same stories over and over. Coming from a knee injury, didn't play last season, had a really good 2024. The Rams are expected to strongly consider a corner at either 13 or 29. They got a pair of first-round picks. This is the one they got from Atlanta. Number 14, Peter Woods, Baltimore. I love this matchup as a possibility from a team need standpoint, a talent standpoint. If the Ravens believe he's strong enough against the run, then I think that's a very strong consideration to give. Number 15, this is Vega. So Eddie Brown thinks Vega's going to the Buccaneers at 15. It's more than just a one-off on some of these mocks saying Vega going top half of the first round. But again, unless you want to classify Proctor as an interior offensive tackle, offensive lineman, a guard, talking Caden Proctor from Alabama. Short of that, the smart money says Vega, at least the way it looks right now, the first interior offensive lineman to go in the draft. This is me reacting to the latest mock draft from Eddie Brown of the San Diego Union Tribune here on NashvilleLou Live. Nash is in. Hello there. We get us to 7 players over on Twitch. And if we have at least 10 players in, we'll have the next Twitchy Tides game coming up before top of the hour. And encourage everybody, please check out Blaze. 8 players in, 906 is in. For viewers on Blaze, type the word enter, E-N-T-E-R. Type that in chat. And you'll be in. Somebody's going to win a Warsaken camo card over there on Blaze. Coming up before the end of the broadcast. It's NashvilleLou Live. So, showing off the newly rebranded DKDB. It's DraftKing.com, but it's going to be easier from a marketing standpoint, though it's just letters. Look, I know what those results have when you type DraftKing and you get a gambling company. I've owned it since 2003, but you know what? Sometimes in life, it's about adapting. So going with the new branding. And most importantly, I've got what I consider the best people in the biz that have proven that they're the best with the mock drafts. And this is not a fully inclusive list. Some aren't out yet. There's a bunch in there. Some are this dated. It's written American style of the month of the day. It didn't make sense any other way, so I had to do it. Holding the spots here for Jason Boris and Brendan Donahue. Their mocks coming. Well, Jason's won't be out until the first day of day one of the draft, that morning. Brendan should be out mid-February to early March if last few years are any indication. Updated today. So going through here the reactions to the latest mock draft from Eddie Brown here on NashvilleLou Live. Flantality is in over on Blope. Let's say hello. We got 9 in for Twitchy Tide. That's good. 1 away from the minimum. Went over here, so another name in there with Flantality getting in for that Warsaken camo card giveaway over on Blaze. Also live on Kick. Commercial free. My reaction here to Eddie Brown's latest 2026 NFL mock draft, number 16, New York Jets, Caden McDonald. And with the Quinn Williams trade last year, defensive tackle is going to be a need for the Jets, whether they address it on day 1 or they get to it on day 2. McDonald, all those tackles for loss for the Buckeyes last season, he's really moved up in recent weeks as far as the evaluators have been seeing things. And so McDonald at 16 to the Jets. Number 17, look at this, Sonny Styles still on the board for the Lions. So this would have Styles getting past Dallas at 12. Styles getting past the Buccaneers at 15, where that usually seems to be where he comes off the board. But here, Eddie Brown has, and it's not that far, it's just a couple spots, but if Detroit's hoping it'll be there, then maybe there's a chance. That defense needs some healthy players, but certainly Styles a dynamic player that can add to that Detroit defense. Number 18, Minnesota, Kenyon Sadiq. Eddie Brown notes a good chance the Vikings could cut TJ Hawkinson this offseason. Doesn't last for long in the NFL. And if that's the course of action, then Sadiq there, that could be right the range. Minnesota can say, look, that's good value for him here. We thought Kansas City might take him at 9. He's still here. We can give it 18. That could be the line of thinking for the Vikings. Eddie at number 19. Eddie Brown of the San Diego Union Tribune has Avion Terrell to the Carolina Panthers. A lot of variance with that as far as the Panthers, what they're going to do. Even the position to be targeted. Well, as well as Fonnie T over on Blaze. A few more people in the mix over there. Again, for viewers on Twitch, it's !play, P-L-A-Y, in chat to get in. All right, so at number 20, Eddie Brown has Dallas taking Akeem Mesidor. Dallas needs an edge rusher that can play right away, that can contribute immediately. And Mesidor would check that box for sure. And he turns 25 in April. Unusually old for a first-round lineman prospect, but he's legit. He's worth it, particularly for a team looking to strike while the iron is hot. If he didn't go this high, he should get a lot of looks late in that first round. At 21, Eddie Brown has Pittsburgh taking Bucky Lemon. I think the Steelers will, you'd have to think they're going to give a lot of consideration to a receiver there at 21. Of course, it depends on who's on the board. That's true with everyone, though, right? But this range, knowing the players, there'll be some receivers. If Lemon goes early, then maybe Jordan Tyson slides, or maybe Parnell Tate slides, or maybe Pittsburgh like somebody else I'm even talking about right now. But here, Bucky Lemon to Pittsburgh at 21. For 22, Eddie Brown has the LA Chargers taking TJ Parker. We're going to see more of this coming up, though. More and more people are, these are early results of people, I think, noticing that TJ Parker with a good performance in Mobile. I mean, people knew going into the season, was talking about possible top 10 pick. He's not some sort of a mystery. And the question is, how much do you hold, if you do at all, hold this past season against him, where his stats weren't sky high compared to 2024, 2023? And how much is just, Clemson had a down year and it affected everybody? That's those evaluators have to figure that out. Number 23, Philadelphia Eagles, Caleb Lomu. Again, Eagles all over the place. I think I do a show just about the Eagles and the Bears. I might do that sometime. Although I need to make sure I need some experts on, if I'm doing an entire show on a team, it's one thing to write it. I can take my time. Off the cuff, a little different. So the Eagles to Lomu, he's there, he's young, he'll take time to develop. I mean, he had 2 years of eligibility and he turned pro, which tells me that he expects to be a first-round pick. If he slides to day 2, then that, so be it, but I think he'll go in that range. If he's there, Eddie Brown says Eagles take Caleb Lomu at 23. 24, Cleveland Browns. Now, this is a different one right here. Offensive tackle, Max Ionaker, Arizona State. So you figure if Cleveland goes receiver up at number 6, then at 24, I mean, it's not a lock they'll do it that way, but if you're trying to figure out based on team needs, as it looks right now, still painting with those proverbial broad brush strokes, it matches up. This whole evaluation process, there will be risers. There already have been. It's NashvilleLou Live. This is my reaction, live on stream to the latest 2026 NFL mock draft from Eddie Brown of the San Diego Union Tribune. Number 25, here's another, Emmanuel McNeil Warren. Now, some have said McNeil Warren at 18 to Minnesota. Eddie Brown here with McNeil Warren to the mysterious Chicago Bears. All over the place. That means they got possibilities. And as Eddie Brown notes, almost every safety on the Bears roster facing free agency. I encourage you, go to DraftKings.com. Go to this database. You click on it, it takes you right there. It's not like there's an elaborate process. You click and just go right to it. So I'm going to click on Eddie Brown there, and then boom, you're right there. And my rule with this, I don't have anything up here that's paywalled or that requires a login. We've got to trust they're going to come here. And this is not to denigrate anybody that has paywalls or logins. It's very important for everybody to figure out a way to make it work business-wise. But I'm linking to stuff people can look at right away. I'm looking for quick hits with the top draft prospects, or as many as possible. Number 26, Buffalo Bills, Denzel Boston. A lot of thought. If the Bills don't take a receiver or don't sign a receiver in free agency, trade for one like A.J. Brown, then Boston, possibly. 27, Monroe Freeling, another Freeling to the 49ers. You don't want to get too attached, especially the further you get from the top of the draft. Any position, any team, or any player in any team in particular. But Freeling to the 49ers, a lot of people like that at this point. 28, Houston Texans. Here's another saying Caden Proctor, late first round, probably to play guard if he were to go in that scenario to the Houston Texans at 28. At 29, Eddie Brown says Ty Simpson, LA Rams. So if the Rams go corner at 13, this goes back to the question from Charlie Campbell's mock draft. where you're saying Simpson at 2 to the Jets, because if you truly feel strongly enough about a player, you're going to use a first-round pick on him. Are you willing to slide until your later pick to risk it? It's such an important position. If you truly feel that way about a player, that you use a first on him. But sometimes you've got players, if somebody's in your top 10 and they're there at 13, sorry, Ty. And if he's still there on the board, great. And that's the other side of it. Maybe it plays out that way. I mean, some of these teams that need quarterbacks, I think desperation might drive some things. I'm not talking about Simpson from a desperation standpoint, but there is tremendous pressure to win immediately. If you don't have an answer at quarterback in the modern NFL, you don't have a chance. Number 30, C.J. Allen, Denver. If it's not a receiver, a lot of talk of C.J. Allen, linebacker from Georgia, to the Denver Broncos at 30. And again, the final 2 picks contingent on the outcome of the Super Bowl. But here, Eddie Brown says New England, Cassius Howell, another Cassius Howell first-round signing, edge rusher, Texas A&M Monster 2025 campaign. 11.5 sacks. That's really something. It's SEC competition. At number 32, Seattle Seahawks, Colton Hood. Another Hood. As much as Seattle, I've seen a lot of different corners linked. A lot of time, Colton Hood, who had to really step up this past season for the Tennessee Vols with Jermod McCoy injured with that torn ACL. So that's my reaction to the latest. And again, there's a whole second round to it as well. If you want to read that, go to the website. Go to the DKDB. Go to DraftKing.com. Go to mockdraftnfl.com. It's got the link to it there. Link you right up. You can read these at your own leisure. We got more to get through, though. I'm going to take my hourly break in a moment. Up next, Walter Cherepinsky. Again, congratulations, Walter Football, hitting 10,000 subscribers on YouTube. So congrats to Walter and his crew on that. So my reaction to Walter's latest mock draft. So up next, Walter Cherepinsky, Walter Football. He's been doing this longer than I have. And I've been doing it for 23 years. Let's see, Walter Football is one of the most popular independent NFL draft websites out there. Let's see what Walter has here. And again, congratulations, Walter. 10,000 subscribers on YouTube. They had their show celebrating that last night. Congrats to that crew. Number 1, Fernando Mendoza, just like you would think, to the Raiders. I'm about to just skip past that every time. I encourage you to go to these various mock drafts, these websites, read it. There's a lot of valuable information, insight, etc. Not too far there. Number 2, Arvell Reese, linebacker, Ohio State, to the Jets. You're going to see that a lot. I mean, yes, the Jets could go with an edge rusher, and I'm sure this consideration process is going to take some time for the Jets. You got to find the right guy. You can't miss at this spot. So at 2, Reese to the Jets, and Walter Cherepinsky's latest 2026 NFL mock draft. It's my reaction to it here on NashvilleLou Live. Number 3, Arizona Cardinals, David Bailey. For as much talk as there is about offensive tackle at number 3, you'll notice how much variance there is with those offensive tackle prospects. It's not like somebody's like dead set, this is the A1 ace, without a doubt, offensive tackle. Like, there's opinions. And so Arizona, we'll see with free agency if they can find a suitable right tackle or make something work. But an edge rusher, an elite edge rusher like David Bailey, that'd be tempting. So that's what Walter has for Arizona at 3. At 4, Tennessee Titans, Caleb Downs. I just think back to last year's draft. The Tennessee Titans had a chance to draft Nick Imawari, really good safety from South Carolina. And they traded out of the spot. Seattle traded in. They drafted Imawari. You saw him make plays, deflect passes in the fourth quarter. Crucial part of that Seattle defense. Those games against the Rams, those Seahawks-Rams games this season were great. Anyway, so point is, if the Titans didn't think enough of the safety position to take Imawari when they could, you come back the next year. I understand Downs is at just a different level as far as the way that he's able to read and react. He's just unique with that. But I don't know if the Titans really take him at 4, given their needs. They could. I mean, I'm not disagreeing here. I'm just saying these are the thoughts that go into my process of what would the Titans do? What have they done in the past? But maybe just because they didn't go with Imawari last year doesn't mean they don't see it differently with Downs. So Titans at 4 in Walter's latest mock. At number 5, New York Giants, Mansour Delane. Matches what I have. which I was convinced by what Daniel Jeremiah wrote in his recent 2026 NFL mock draft, saying that Mansour Delane, in his opinion, would be the top corner with the New York Giants first day. He walks in there, he's the best quarterback on that team. And when you look at the various prospects, okay, it looks like there's demand higher up, but do these teams really see these corners as the top 5 guy? With this draft, where there's not going to be a lot of teams looking to trade up in all likelihood because of the limits on quarterbacks, if you really like a guy, just because somebody else has him at 15 doesn't necessarily mean anything. If you can get him at 5 and you're the Giants and he's going to make your defense better, your passing defense better, that gets you consideration. And yet Delane could still be there in the 12, 13, 14 range. Even 15. Number 6, Walter has Cleveland Browns, Francis Mauigoa. It's not a guarantee. You know, some mocks have Mauigoa going maybe one of the 20s, even lower. But you look at team needs. The Browns drafting at 24. If they get their tackle here, if they want to go receiver at 24. And with this, there aren't any receivers off the board. A lot of defense gone. And Mauigoa. So that's what Walter says for the Browns at 6. So I'm reacting to the latest mock draft from Walter Cherepinsky of WalterFootball.com. Be sure to go to mockdraftnfl.com. It's got the link for the DKDB, a newly rebranded 2026 NFL mock draft database. I listened to consultants. They said to do it this way. I said, do I have to put my name up there so many times? Yes. Okay. I learned this thing. Okay. They're undefeated. 100% success rate when they've been unanimous on their suggestions. It's hard to go against that. So I've been reacting here. We saw Eric Edholm's mock on NFL.com. Charlie Campbell, also of Walter Football. Luke Easterling, Athlon Sports. Eddie Brown from the San Diego Union Tribune. And now looking at the latest mock draft from Walter Cherepinsky, Walter Football. This is NashvilleLou Live. I'm Lou Pickney. We got the names. We got the team. We got the scoops. Number 7. Walter gets heat for doing that. Sometimes I don't know that people understand the whole idea of farming engagement. But again, congratulations, Walter. 10,000 subscribers on YouTube. They had their celebration show last night for that. So here at number 7, Washington Commanders, Jeremiah Love, where Walter says the Commanders will go. Number 8, Jordan Tyson. There's another Tyson to the Saints. It's easier to project that if you have Love off the board at 7. A lot of people are thinking Love to the Saints at 8. Tyson. I think Makai Lemon might be a look here as well, even though Lemon could go much lower here. Could end up going further down. Number 9, here's another one. Chiefs going defensive end, edge, Reuben Bain Jr. Number 10, Sonny Styles to the Cincinnati Bengals. And that linebacker safety hybrid. Of course, the Bengals being relatively close to Columbus, Ohio. They're going to know about him. This interests me. Walter saying Spencer Fano, the Dolphins. Not that Fano sliding out of the top 10 is a surprise because it's going to happen to somebody. There's a lot of top offensive tackle prospects, but enough demand at other positions that even in a year that's weak at quarterback, at least the way the perception goes, we might only have one go at number 1 with Mendoza. Even with that, somebody like Fano, maybe he goes at number 3 overall, maybe he slides here, maybe it's lower. But here Walter says Miami Dolphins, Spencer Fano, offensive tackle, Utah. It's NashvilleLou Live. Our reaction to Walter Cherepinsky's latest 2026 NFL mock draft over on WalterFootball.com. Again, it's one of the most popular NFL independent draft sites out there. I've been doing this for 23 years. He's been doing it longer. Number 13, Denzel Boston for the Rams at 13 and 29. So the question is, do you go receiver here, maybe corner? But if some of these corners are gone, we see that big run on defense the way that this latest mock is laying it out there. Mansour Delane's already gone to that spot, which might affect what the Dolphins do. Boston to the Rams at 13. This has Denzel Boston going ahead of Carnell Tate. Walter Football's latest 2026 NFL mock draft here. He's got the Ravens taking Carnell Tate at number 14. At 15, Zion Young, Tampa Bay Bucks. A lot of thought the Buccaneers will give serious consideration here to an edge rusher. There should be several elite edge rushers in the mix. At 16, Ty Simpson, New York Jets. That's going to be where you're going to see Simpson on a lot of boards, a lot of mocks, I should say. He may not be on the board, but the mocks will put him there. If they're at 16 to the Jets, and again, like what Charlie Campbell brought up, also of Walter Football, saying, okay, if you like a guy enough to take him at 16, are you willing to pass on him once for a position as important as quarterback is in the NFL? If you risk it and then that doesn't work out, then what do you do? So the second half of the first round of Walter Football's latest 2026 NFL mock draft, 17, Detroit Lions, Avion Terrell. Hey, there's Silent One. Saying hello in chat over on Blaze. So this will be the VOD with the breaks cut out. Show up later today over on YouTube, on the Mock Draft NFL channel, over on Blaze. Blaze.stream. It's a new streaming platform. I encourage everybody to check it out. It's free to sign up. If nothing else, if you got a name that you like to use, get in there right now before somebody else snatches it from you. And if you're on Blaze, come into my chat real fast, type enter, say hi, whatever. But they really value, because they're brand new, they want real people in there. They want different, unique people in there. And it's a win-win because they really have, at least thus far, they've taken care of the creators. A lot of platforms, it's becoming very difficult. People that have much larger audiences, like on YouTube, man, I don't know. I don't know what's going to happen with some of that stuff. The AI judge, jury, and executioner that I talked about back in August. Moist Critical talked about it as well. So maybe you didn't hear me say it, but you got hundreds of thousands of people hearing it. Anyway, so for viewers on Blaze, it's enter, E-N-T-E-R in chat. For viewers on Twitch, we got 5 players in already for the next Twitchy Tides game. Another coming up later this hour, provided we have at least 10 players in for that. So if you want to join, you can do so. On Twitch, type !play in chat. And again, hi to everybody watching over on Kick. Commercial-free viewing on Kick. All right. So more of my reaction. So you can go to mockdraftnfl.com. It's got a link to the DKDB, which is my personally curated 2026 NFL mock draft database. Say, well, Lou, who cares what? Well, topical authority is really something. But I take it seriously. I mean, every one of these people in here are legit. All right. So again, my reaction to Walter Cherepinsky of Walter Football, his latest mock draft. He's got Terrell at 17 to the Lions. We talked about that. Brandon Cisse, more and more, Cisse's a top 20 possibility, especially if he impresses like he is expected to with the workouts. Minnesota needs help at corner. I've been looking at that one more and more like, that could be an interesting combo. More than just interesting. 19, here's another vote for Kenyon Sadiq to the Panthers. I like that matchup. It's tough to get too attached too far from the top of the draft board. And the Panthers have a lot of different needs and possibilities, but it seems like a viable possibility for Sadiq at 19. This is my reaction to the latest 2026 NFL mock draft from Walter Football, Walter Cherepinsky. Go to mockdraftnfl.com. It's got a link to the DKDB. You can go back, whether you're watching live or you're watching this on YouTube later, like, what are these mocks, Lou? Where can I find these? Well, I'll include them in the description section of the YouTube video itself. Giving out these do follow links, hooking them up. Of course, my reaction here live. Number 20. Now, this is interesting. Walter has Caden Proctor, Dallas Cowboys. I haven't seen much thinking that the Cowboys would go offensive tackle or guard, given their needs on defense. But I mean, Proctor, much like some teams will be all over the place with predictions, because Proctor has so much potential, even if it's just as a only, quote unquote, only as a guard. But somebody so athletic that they can be 366 pounds and effectively play guard in the NFL, being that quick. Just unusual, very unusual. So wherever he ends up, they can get the most out of him. Man, he's got the physical tools, is my point. Number 21, Pittsburgh Steelers. Walter has Jermod McCoy, corner from Tennessee. Of course, the torn ACL last season, had a great 2024. So a little bit of a different thought from Walter with those Steelers. Been a lot of talk, maybe quarterback, wide receiver, defensive tackle. But here, going corner, Jermod McCoy, number 21. So this is my reaction to Walter Cherepinsky's latest 2026 NFL mock draft here on NashvilleLou Live. Number 22, LA Chargers, Will Lee III. So I've seen Lee's name kind of appear and disappear from late first and various mocks. Starting to see it show up a bit more. And here Walter has Lee to the Chargers at 22. At 23, the Eagles going Caleb Lomu. Young player. Has the potential to develop, be a long-term player wherever he ends up. 24, there's another R. Mason Thomas. There are a lot of great edge rushers that are going to be in consideration here in this range. A lot of people are very bullish on R. Mason Thomas. So Walter has the Browns taking him at 24. If you're not going... Well, I guess that would be interesting to have Thomas opposite Myles Garrett. 25. Speaking of edge rushers, Cassius Howell, Texas A&M. Off his 11.5 sack season of 2025. The Bears, again, it's the big... Pick a name in this range and you might see it mocked to the Bears. They're all over the place as far as the projections because it's just hard to tell at this point. I'm not sure how much clarity we're going to get between now and the draft either. It's just tough to know some of these. That's part of the challenge of this. If it were easy, then AI can do it and people like me can find something else to do. 26. Chris Bell, receiver, Louisville, suffered a torn ACL in Louisville's bowl game. Despite that, I've seen, it's not just people leaving it in there not thinking about it, but I've seen projections that because they're thinking he might be back even to start the season. The modern wonders of medicine, sports medicine, but once ended careers now can be recovered from in a reasonable way. So hopefully it'll be a good recovery for Chris Bell. I love that matchup. I was going to have a very difficult time not projecting that in my mock. I have to be careful with that sort of thing. Okay, don't get too attached to a player and a team in a spot because just because it seems like it makes sense now, you can't be ignoring information that tells you otherwise. But with that in mind, it could still happen. I think after you fire a coach that made the playoffs 8 out of 9 years, you're going to pressure to do something now. But, I mean, Bell might be able to bring something early to the table for the Bills. We'll see. It was really too bad with that injury. He had such a good season. The Cardinals. 27, Caden McDonald, 49ers. Not going offensive line, McDonald. Not to any surprise, but he's a great pass rusher as an interior defensive lineman. 28, LT Overton. So Walter has Overton listed as a defensive tackle. You'll see him listed as an edge, defensive end. Question mark, because you can put him in a lot of different spots. It's meant as a compliment, but in this whole who's going to go first round thing, these teams are looking for edge rushers. Now, Overton can do that. You can kick him inside. There's a lot you can do. With the right team, the right system, he should be a force. So for the Texans, if a lot of the potential offensive guards that you might take here, that's not the move, or you've addressed that in free agency, then LT Overton, perhaps the consideration. That's what Walter Football has here at number 28. It's my reaction to Walter's latest mock draft here on NashvilleLou Live. 29, LA Rams, Monroe Freeling. So if you wonder, because a lot of mocks have had Freeling going to the 49ers. Well, if the 49ers don't take him, does he still go first round? And according to Walter Football's latest, it'd be the Rams taking Freely, perhaps best player available, also filling a need, as noted there. Free agency concerns. For the Rams at 30, Peter Woods. This is on the lower end of where you see things with Woods. The question being, is the potential liability against the run enough to make him slide? All he needs is one team to believe in you. He is super quick, Woods is. Anyway, if he slides, and hey, it works out for the Denver Broncos at 30. 31, Walter has C.J. Allen. A lot of thought that he might be gone like maybe a few spots before here, but if he's still on the board, the Patriots, And again, this is contingent on the outcome of the Super Bowl. But the Patriots with Allen at 31, and then Walter with Seattle going TJ Parker. I think Parker at 32 that would be seen as a surprise at this point, given how well he's performed early on in this. It's a whole gauntlet these players have to go through. They're getting tested in all sorts of different ways. So that's my reaction to the latest 2026 NFL mock draft from Walter Cherepinsky of WalterFootball.com. He's been doing it a long time. And again, congratulations, Walter, hit that 10,000 subscriber milestone on YouTube. So now let's hear. This is my first time reacting to a 2026 NFL mock draft from Xavier Cromartie of FF Metrics. Xavier has done very well in recent huddle report competitions. Let's see what Xavier. We got a wizard right here. Spoilers. Commissioner Goodell. They look very different. Also, it's 2028, but never mind that. All right, so let's see. So Xavier Cromartie from FF Metrics. Let's get it right. FFmetrics.com. And again, you can go to mockdraftnfl.com. It's got the link to the DKDB, my database, which I consider the best in the world as far as these mock drafts. I mean, this crew I've got here is solid. And there are plenty of other great databases as well. But I'm telling you, what's in here is legit. Put my name on it, literally. So let's take a look at what Xavier has here. Number 1, Mendoza, the Raiders, of course. Reese to the Jets. So that's kind of the prevailing thought. I don't think, again, how do you classify Reese? A guy that can drop back into coverage, into secondary, like a defensive back, linebacker, off ball, or an edge rusher. The edge rusher part's going to really interest them. So the Jets, they've got to do some of that defense. So Jets with Reese at 2. Xavier at 3's got David Bailey to the Cardinals. I think that has to be given fair consideration. Much as it's like, okay, plug in a right tackle there for the Cardinals. When you see as much variance as there is among the offensive tackle prospects, and you see the lack of variance at the top of those edge, I mean, you're seeing Bailey and Bain over and over and over and over in here for good reason, because most of the evaluators at this point say those are the top 2. Now, all that matters is what one team wants, and that can change everything. The point being, there's not an overwhelming number 1 offensive tackle prospect, whereas they're at 3, the Cardinals can say, look, we can get our pick of the entire edge rush group. If you count Reese as like a one-of-one freak linebacker, Bailey could very well be it for the Cards. At 4, Xavier Cromartie has the Titans taking Carnell Tate. See a lot of the Titans that they don't go with an edge rusher at 4 to go receiver. Tate's going to get open wherever he ends up. That's his special ability. At 5, Francis Mauigoa to the Giants. That'll be the first offensive tackle drafted in this mock. At 6, the Browns, Spencer Fano. So maybe back-to-back. And the Browns also drafting at 24. We've got 9 players in right now for the next Twitchy Ties game. Viewers on Twitch, you can get in by typing !play in chat. 2.5 hours in. I can tell it my voice, but it doesn't feel like it in some ways. Time just flies with this. Viewers on Blaze, type the word enter in chat over on Blaze, ENTER. Before the end of the broadcast, be giving away a Warsaken camo card. The lucky winner over there. All right, so this is my reaction to what I believe is the first mock draft of this cycle for Xavier Cromartie of FF Metrics and part of my database, the DKDB. You can link to that from mockdraftnfl.com. Follow along. After the fact, go back and look, etc. So continuing on here, you got tackle, Giants and Browns. At 7, Mansour Delane to the Commanders. At 8, there's another one, Jeremiah Love to the Saints. I'm going to watch the reporting carefully out of New Orleans. Sometimes you get these context clues, and then sometimes it's a big guessing game that doesn't have an answer. At 9, now wouldn't that be interesting? Downs to the Chiefs, Caleb Downs. Number 10, Cincinnati Bengals, Jermod McCoy. corner. There were some Bengals fans that I ran across online, reading some of their conversation on Reddit. As much as you can talk about Reddit like a negative sense, you get a lot of people that are very passionate and knowledgeable about their given team. And so when they make a big deal about something, I tend to listen, at least consider it. A lot of times it's worked out, especially when it's like they're not going to do whatever. Something that for sure they're going to do something well, for sure can be a lot of things. But they're adamant, like, okay, someone's like last year, the 49ers would not take a corner. Somebody being so adamant about that in the first round, and it held up. Doesn't mean it always holds up, but it's all part of the consideration process for me. I look at everything I can. There's some validity to it. I mean, I've got the very best of the best here in the DKDB. I mean, I loaded this up with the very best. It's my name's on it. Of course, I'm putting the best in there. This is fun. All right, 13. I'll not skip past. No, not 13. Number 10 was the Bengals, McCoy. So my reaction to the mock draft from Xavier Cromartie of FF Metrics. Number 11, Miami Dolphins, Makai Lemon. Wouldn't that be something? Lemon to the Dolphins. If McCoy is gone, if Delane is gone, a couple corners off the board, maybe Miami goes receiver with Lemon. At 12, Reuben Bain Jr. I mean, that would really be a great value pickup for a guy that could go at possibly even number 2 overall. Some have had that for the Jets, and he could. But if he's still there on the board for the Dallas Cowboys, I feel you're teasing Cowboys fans saying that. And yet it could happen. And maybe Dallas wouldn't pick him. Who knows? That's the whole thing. Just because it fills a need doesn't mean that they'll see it that way. 13, LA Rams, Avion Terrell. That's really high here compared to a lot of the range you see with Terrell. It's noteworthy, though. It's not like a complaint. It's like, okay, they're saying Terrell, number 3 corner prospect, maybe after the 2 you see the most with Delane and McCoy. So Avion Terrell to the LA Rams. They filled their corner need here at 13. This is my live reaction here to the latest 2026 NFL mock draft from Xavier Cromartie of FF Metrics here on NashvilleLou Live. So we got 11 players in for Twitchy Tides. That's more than the minimum, so we'll have enough for a game coming up later in the hour. You can join if you're watching on Twitch by typing in chat !play in chat. Everybody plays that wants to with Twitchy Tides. You don't need a wax wallet. You don't need anything. The game will assign you a fish for fun that you can cheer for. It really has been a fun addition since that launched about a year and a half ago. There's also Twitchy Skies. There's a lot of different things. Twitchy Tides for what I do. Perfect. All right. So let's see. Xavier Cromartie, FF Metrics. Number 14, Keldrick Falk to the Ravens. Falk and edge with good size, 285. If he's there, that seems viable. And here's one that says, you see this a lot. If Sonny Styles gets past Dallas at 12, quite a bit you're seeing Styles at 15 to the Buccaneers. The caveat, though, with all this, remember, free agency hadn't started yet. These needs, they'll be turned over. Much like sandcastles, you got to rebuild. Number 16, New York Jets, Ty Simpson. Seen a lot of that. Simpson at 16, because it makes sense given the team need. And that went back to the question from earlier from Charlie Campbell. If you believe in a quarterback, highly enough that you would use a mid-first round pick on him, you let him get value the first time. But if you go there, then you're missing out on a potential elite defensive lineman, edge rusher, etc., that maybe you can get there in comparable form, maybe not. But do you risk it? To be determined. 17, Detroit Lions, Akeem Mesidor. So Mesidor, for a team like the Lions, Mesidor makes sense because he's going to be able to contribute a lot quicker than perhaps some others, younger players. Yeah, I say the same things over and over, but these prospects keep showing up because they're the best. As far as where the evaluators see it at this point, Mesidor turns 25 in early April. So perhaps a shorter window as far as you're thinking, okay, elite pass rusher, maybe get a couple fewer years than he might otherwise. But look, the Lions are looking to do something right now this upcoming season. So Mesidor there makes sense to me if he's there. 18, Minnesota Vikings, Jordan Tyson. See, sometimes you see Tyson up there in the top 5, top 4, and then sometimes it's lower. Tremendous playmaker. Or that'd be Minnesota going at that there at 18. This is my reaction to the latest 2026 NFL mock draft from Xavier Cromartie, FF Metrics. Go to mockdraftnfl.com. It'll link you right up for the DKDB, which is on DraftKings.com. But from a marketing standpoint, it's much easier to do it this way. The awkwardness, no, not the gambling company. And 5 minutes off on that tangent. So then we get focused. Focus here at 19. Look at for Carolina getting Peter Woods. That's the range for Woods between maybe late top 10 to late first round. Number 20, Dallas Cowboys, Brandon Cisse. So another top 20 projection for Cisse. Well, I think it's starting to move up as far as the pecking order goes, as far as the perception at this point. And very much broad brushstrokes. 21, Denzel Boston. Steelers going receiver. At 22, Xavier's got the Chargers going with Caden Proctor. And be the largest guard in many a moon in the NFL if it plays out that way. I mean, maybe he'll end up with a team that would need him to play tackle. Being versatile is a positive. The Chargers, whether it's free agency or the draft, will have to address their interior offensive line. At 23, Philadelphia Eagles, Cassius Howell. Howell seems to be expected to be a first rounder. I would not say it's a lock. There are a lot of edge prospects, and I've seen the last couple of years edge prospects that were supposedly going to be first round picks. They fell today too, but not all of them. Trying to figure that out, a big part of it. There's a lot of talent, and it's a need spot for nearly every team. At 24, Vega to the Browns. There's one where the Chargers could have had Vega instead with Proctor and Xavier Cromartie of FF Metrics. Xavier says the Browns take Vega at 24. Number 25, Chicago Bears. So again, the Chicago Bears, pick a name out of a hat. It's going to be different every time, it feels like, because they have so many different possibilities here. Caleb Lomu, offensive tackle, Utah. Buffalo Bills at 26, Caden McDonald. There was a time I felt like McDonald was surging up towards like the mid part of the first round. And again, all that matters is for one team to want you wherever, and that's where you go. Like you're looking for a consensus as far as the 26 or 32 general managers. Anyway, so if the Bills feel receiver needs elsewhere or decide day two is going to be a better spot, McDonald, one of the best defensive tackle prospects in the draft. 27, 49ers corner, Colton Hood. So I warned that 49ers Reddit. Maybe, although I checked that fan's opinion this year. Maybe you think differently. So Hood, who Daniel Jeremiah in his first NFL mock draft that came out not too long ago, had Hood going top 12 here. Hood's on the board at 27 for the 49ers. 28, Texans, Kenyon Sadiq. In scenarios where Sadiq has been on the board, I've seen that quite a bit going to the Texans. You've got to get yourself some offensive weapons, and Sadiq would certainly seem to qualify for that. 29, LA Rams. Remember, they got the pick up there at 13, so, okay, this is going corner for the Rams at 13 and corner for the Rams at 29. So I say, one of those ain't going to happen. You're doubling down. I mean, you could. I mean, Atlanta took those two front seven defensive players the first round. Hey, it can happen, but I would suggest they do something different there. But here it's Keith Abney II, the Rams. At 30, Denver Broncos, Dylan Thieneman, really good safety with Oregon, played at Purdue prior to last season, a hard hitter, forces turnovers. And he should be in the conversation, be considered as the second safety off the board. Depending on what happens, of course, with McNeil Warren, who's right there at 31. Emmanuel McNeil. I didn't even see the name on the screen there. I was looking over the side. Got to check the chat, make sure everything's going well. So McNeil Warren to the Patriots. That safety for the Patriots would be interesting. And then 32, Seattle gets Caleb Banks at the end of the first. I heard some whispers coming out of Mobile that the thought on Banks is more day two, second or even third round. He had some good showings from what I saw. But it's a long process. So that is the latest 2026 NFL mock draft from Xavier Cromartie and my reaction to it here on NashvilleLou Live. Now, one more to get through here. Bucky Brooks, we'll get to that in a moment. 12 players are in for the next Twitchy Tides game. And that's a Twitch exclusive. Some of our viewers on Twitch, if you're not in yet, it's real simple to get in. All you have to do, type !play in chat. We'll have that next game coming up here before too long. All right, let's get to the mock draft from Bucky Brooks, NFL.com. Let's see what Bucky has here. It's NashvilleLou Live. Bucky's mock part of the DKDB, my personally curated 2026 NFL mock draft database. Some people that know me from as the NashvilleLou persona in the world of live streaming don't know about this. So they only know about like anecdotally. It doesn't feel like it's been 23 years of doing this, but here we are. All right, so Bucky Brooks. Let's see what Bucky has here. This is his first mock of the 2026 cycle. Well, I guess you can do it like that and that. We already saw Eric Edholm. Looked at that earlier in this broadcast, and then the previous one we had Daniel Jeremiah. So I guess you can do it like that on. And I encourage people, go to NFL.com. They do a great job with that website. That's a lot to keep track of. Make it very easy to use. I do that for all these different mocks. If this interests you, go and read what these people have. I'm giving you my reaction to it here. But these people put in a lot of time and effort. I just happen to look at this stuff to an almost obsessive level because I have to for work. So I know this stuff. I actually do know it. It's a way to prove it. Like, you couldn't possibly make it enough if you're just rambling for 3 hours like that, Lou. Come on. The weird thing, the LLMs pick up on that. They pick up on tone. Perplexity made a callback to a one-off comment I made on the last broadcast. It had only been uploaded on YouTube a short amount of time. And Perplexity went through that entire, it seemed like at least that entire 2 hours and 20 minutes. And like it got distracted me. It stopped me in my tracks. Whoa, wait, what is this? I'm in there trying to look up, make sure my SEO tactics and efforts are working. Spread the word. Working to do that. Spread the word about the DKDB. My 2026 NFL mock draft database. Find it over on a link to it from mockdraftnfl.com. Anyways, let's get into Bucky's mock draft like I was saying here. At number 1, Las Vegas Raiders, Fernando Mendoza. It would be a massive surprise. And I mean massive if Mendoza was not the pick here. I've heard nothing to suggest that's at all the case. But late April's a long way from now. Number 2, Arvell Reese. A lot we've seen going through these mocks today, saying Arvell Reese to the Jets at 2. But so far, Bucky's matches mine as far as my latest mock draft. From Bucky Brooks of NFL.com, he's got Spencer Fano to the Cardinals at 3. At 4, Titans, Carnell Tate. Just uncanny ability to get open. Give him 3 seconds, and he catches everything. Tremendous hands. I wonder how the impression from the evaluators will be after the workouts. If Tate just has a normal 40 time. I mean, these are all fast players. I mean, you can't be slow. You can't be just medium. But there's fast and there's track speed fast. Anyway, so I don't expect Tate to wow them with that, but his ability to get open, which is what really matters in the NFL, the modern NFL. 3 seconds or less, you want that ball out of there. What's your quarterback getting crunched? At 5, Giants, Francis Malagoa. Another thought, offensive tackle, Giants at 5. And look at this at number 6 from Bucky Brooks, Caleb Lomu. We've seen a lot of Lomu in the second half of the first round. The value with Lomu is not as much what he'll get for you right away because he's young. He was just a redshirt sophomore. But his potential, his versatility, this is as high as I've seen with Lomu on a serious mock, at least in a very long time, if ever. So it's interesting to see that because, I mean, look, the Browns are going to possibly go, pardon me, offensive tackle. As I was saying, offensive tackle is a need that the Browns are expected to address with one of these picks the way it looks now, before free agency. So Lomu to the Browns at 6, and Bucky Brooks' first 2026 NFL mock draft of this cycle over on NFL.com. Bucky at number 7, Commanders, Jordan Tyson. You know, some of these we've seen Tyson down like the 20 range. This is the higher end. When he's healthy, just electric. Number 8, New Orleans Saints and David Bailey. So Bailey not going in the top 7. And the Saints, who could go running back or could go receiver. Here, Bucky has the Saints taking David Bailey, edge rusher, Texas State. You'll notice these names, I'm repeating them over and over. These are some of the very best. I mean, it's not a surprise. The question is, who's going where? Number 9, Jeremiah Love to the Chiefs. I mean, if he doesn't go to the Saints at 8, I really like this matchup. Now, the Chiefs haven't had a top 10 pick in a while, so maybe they'd address edge rusher. Maybe you go safety, I don't know. Love, though, if he's there at 9. He'll be a first-round pick. The question is where. So Love at 9 to the Chiefs, and he may be the only one that goes for his first-round running back. There's talent, but Love is just a different level. The way the evaluators see it. Number 10, remember, I'm an analyst. I've got opinions and everything, but I know the people whose opinions I trust. Who really knows what's going on. At 10, Bengals, Caleb Downs. I've got that. A lot of people have that. 11, Dolphins, Kenyon Sadiq. A little bit higher with Sadiq. Some talk of Sadiq to the Chiefs at 9, given the age of Travis Kelce and is likely in the twilight of his career. The anticipation is that Sadiq will be taken in the first round, but there is some disagreement as far as how high that might be. And here, Bucky Brooks of NFL.com. Bucky has the Dolphins taking Sadiq at 11. At 12, Sonny Styles to the Cowboys. A lot of that. The Cowboys, again, have the 12 and the 20. For 13, LA Rams, Jermod McCoy, corner, Tennessee. Reuben Bain Jr. all the way down to 14. That would be quite the pickup for the Ravens if that happened. 15, Tampa Bay Bucks. Vega, going interior offensive line. That would be interesting. The Bucks have a lot of needs on defense, though. You got to keep Mayfield up, to be sure. At 16, New York Jets, Makai Lemon. Well, this is my reaction to the first of this draft cycle mock draft from Bucky Brooks of NFL.com. Viewers on Twitch, we got 12 players in for that next Twitchy Tides game. You can join by typing !play in chat. And for viewers on Blaze, type the word enter in chat. You can win a Warsaken camo card. We'll be giving that away before the end of the broadcast. This is my live reaction to Bucky Brooks' first 2026 NFL mock draft. NashvilleLou Live. I'm Lou Pickney. My database. Me. And this is Bucky Brooks' NFL draft. So Proctor, 17 to the Lions. If Detroit doesn't address defense at either edge or corner, offensive line does seem like a viable possibility. This is interesting. Mansour Delane all the way down to 18. There's been a lot of talk of Delane, top 12, top 10. I've got him top 5. I've got the Giants taking him. But I've also seen people I trust think more, okay, maybe you're going to rate him more the 15, 16 range. We'll see what the demand for the position is. We'll see what the evaluators say. Long process. But here the Vikings fill a need at corner. They should be happy with this. This would represent good value, in my opinion. Delane, Vikings 18. Number 19. Bucky Brooks has Carolina drafting Peter Woods at 19. So there's another Woods to Carolina. Seen that a few times. Defensive tackle from Clemson at 20. The Cowboys. They should be happy if this happens. Getting Keldrick Falk. Look at that. Edge rusher with good size out of Auburn. So Bucky has the Cowboys taking Falk at 20. At 21, Zachariah Branch. So if you think the Steelers might go for a slot receiver, a Branch, he's been moving up. I've seen talk of him second half of first round. But there are a lot of receivers that will get consideration in this range. But Branch, there's a certain electricity to him. In the right offense, he could really thrive in the NFL. I think, at least. We'll see. If Pittsburgh gets him, I'm sure they'll find good ways to use him. 22, LA Chargers, Akeem Mesidor. Defensive end edge out of Miami. So Mesidor to the Chargers in Bucky's mock draft. Bucky Brooks at number 23, Philadelphia Eagles, Avion Terrell. So we've seen Terrell off the board in a lot of mocks, but here, and it's the same range. I mean, we're talking like 16 versus 23. So the Eagles, all over the place. Eagles, again, Terrell at 23. Browns back on the board at 24. Go receiver, Casey Concepcion. 25, Chicago, Caden McDonald. As much as the Bears are a bit of an enigma at this point, I could see defensive tackle being a possible direction for him. McDonald's one of the guys that's going to get a lot of looks. If he's still on the board in this range, he may be gone by there. 26, C.J. Allen to the Bills. I think if the Bills don't take a receiver here, the way their needs are now, C.J. Allen, very strong possibility. 27, Bucky Brooks of NFL.com. Monroe Freeling, so another Freeling to the 49ers. A lot of that. 28, Houston Texans. Caleb Banks to the Texans. Again, just the recent whispers I've heard of Banks, like round 2, round 3, but I've also heard people like, we think he's first. And all it takes is one team to think he's first. He was injured for much of the 2025 season, so it limited what he could do productivity-wise. The potential is huge. 29, so here's the Rams with Ty Simpson. That's one of those, if you're using a first-round pick on a quarterback, you fill a different spot, you go receiver or corner at 13. If he's still on the board at 29, that's where Bucky Brooks has the Rams taking Ty Simpson. 30, Denver Broncos, Emmanuel McNeil-Warren. Safety, Toledo. Talking McNeil-Warren maybe going as high as 18 to Minnesota. But it happens, seems, most times there'll be a few safeties that start to rise up during the process into that late first round. And McNeil-Warren has shown up enough to, okay, I think there's some smoke to that fire. Then maybe he goes to day 2. You know, I thought Nick Emenwari was going to be a first rounder. But still, quite often, these safeties, the top ones, the top few in that late first round will get a look. Patriots at 31, Cassius Howell. Even those that say Howell, okay, maybe he doesn't have the prototype you need arm length-wise or whatever. I mean, 11.5 sacks, is that not good enough for you? Against SEC caliber competition? And then finally, Seattle, 32. Denzel Boston still on the board. Going to the Seahawks at 32. So this is my reaction. This has been my reaction to Bucky Brooks' 2026 NFL mock draft. And again, go to mockdraftnfl.com. It's got the link. Look for it. DKDB. Thank you to DraftKing.com. It's my new marketing. DKDB. I personally curated 2026 NFL mock draft database. I'm in there. We got spots saved for Jason Boris and Brendan Donahue. Their mocks aren't out yet. And a bunch of high-quality mocks. And some spots in here, people... I imagine some will wait until after the Super Bowl to update. And then we'll have a lot of time to get to discuss all this stuff. So that's what it's looking at right now. Or that's how it's looking. DKDB. MockDraftNFL.com. NashvilleLou Live. Lou Pickney.